Oh, I missed it.
Ball sweat will not be the problem.
Ugh.
My Morgan wanted to let you know that my kids now randomly walk around the house yelling Shaboot. She thought
It's
you would
funny.
appreciate that. Shaboot.
I
Like I
do.
put
That is
I put
good.
Saga in the car today and she just turns to me and goes, Shaboot. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. We'll
That is funny.
turn that into one of my Tourette's ticks. He's wearing a
Yeah.
singlet.
Yeah. Oh
That's
God, that will.
that's
Yeah.
a full body commitment to
Well, I
go
mean,
see.
we don't know what he's wearing underneath the camera. Like he could like just have
Got
like
the,
he.
how uncomfortable would just the top of a singlet be? Like
Oh God.
that would hug like a sports
Just
bra.
cut right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Like I don't know what modifications he's made to that.
It's assless chaps, so I can just sit directly down on the toilet.
There you
Yeah.
go.
As opposed to
Um.
those ass full chaps, which are just
Mhm.
pants.
Yeah.
Nate had some fucking underwear full chaps last week. And welcome back to episode 422 of the Unpaid and Underrated Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Big Keith, joined as always here by Big Joey.
Yep, that's me.
And this week we have a special guest. We got a two-headed monster over here called Gary Brad. Go ahead and introduce yourself there, buddy.
This is the sound of my voice. How's it going,
Okay.
guys?
Good, good, good. And what would you like to be called, my friend?
We can go by Big Gary because I
Big
think
Gary.
even on the Crew Falls episode, you said you wouldn't acknowledge me by any other name.
I know, and then you log into Zoom with your government name, and that's all I can see. And I'm gonna end up calling you that like 10 times if you don't change it, but that's okay. Not a big
Uh,
deal. Not a big deal at all.
I usually do job interviews on the iPad as well.
No, yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And then don't forget not to change it back if you do change it.
That'd be
So
good.
yeah, episode
Just
422
logging
coming
into a
at you.
job interview. I am Big
Yeah.
Gary. We are
I'll just show
expecting.
up like this in the singlet and the
How could you
Yes,
not hire me?
you saw the viral video where it was like someone changed their buddy's username to the most like offensive like dick. I don't even remember what it was, but it was
Uh,
so vulgar, and it was like
it,
for
Aryan.
yeah, it was
it
A
was for a
Ryan.
court. Yeah, yeah, it was Ryan. I know, but it was like for the guy was like in court or something, I
I
think,
was
or it
waiting
was
for a chance to say it, and you beat
yeah,
me to it.
Ryan. That was good. Has he seen it or not? Yeah. You drinking anything over there, Joey?
Nah, I got like a ginger ale and some
Yeah,
Keats.
same. I'm not really drinking anything fancy, but it is worth a quick story. So like we've been doing the what the heck drink have I been drinking there for a while? Waterloo. We've been getting Waterloo at Costco for like the past 6 months, give or take, almost every time we go there. And then we did an order this time, and Stephanie forgot to because we've ordered Waterloo and LaCroix, and I think she just ordered the first one that came up in recent history, and she got when I brought in LaCroix, I was like, God damn it, where's the Waterloo at? So LaCroix is definitely a step down from Waterloo in my opinion.
You haven't tried the Kirkland Signature water yet?
I think I've had it once, but I want to say it's like the variety pack. It's like three flavors that all are not my top tier for me. So I might
Yeah,
try it
there's like
again, but
grapefruit, lime,
yeah,
and
neither.
there's
I'm not a
also
grapefruit fan.
yeah, it's okay. I mean,
Okay.
You got anything noteworthy over there, Brad? Gary
I
Brad.
just popped a can of Mango Cart Hefeweizen.
There you go.
A Hefeweizen.
Yes, sir. Jawohl. Das ist
Oh
gut.
wow. Just so this will bring us into what do you wear, and just realized Joey and I are twinning it up. I think
Yep.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Thursday's red shirt day.
little unpaid and underrated T-shirt going on over here, and
I got
Gary, why don't
the
you go tell
Massonomic
the
singlet, the socks, the headband.
Some pit
That's about
vipers.
it. No, these are Oakley Jawbone 2s.
Oh wow.
And I have these 4 years now. They definitely need some love. Very dirty.
All right. That was a loud crack.
Oh yeah. Well, we got a little. Let's see what we got this week. So I've been working on the Lift Hard Live Easy roster. I say I've been working on it as in like basically I wanted to put one together so I could know who to attack for to approach for getting on the podcast. And you'd think that big old Dave Stensland would have something nice and ready for me, and he's just like, no. He sent me like 10 screenshots of just like the registration things. Then I had to tediously like edit all those photos and try to cut and copy and paste them all. But I got a big list, and then Tanner and some other guys helped me kind of decipher who was crew and who wasn't and whatnot. But I know a handful of people to try to reach out to over the next couple of months to try to get on the podcast, and it was kind of cool to just see the whole roster. I mean, granted, a handful of power probably backed out by now or whatnot, but we got a full house. There's like 120 some people on it, and I think
Holy.
like 60 or so had already been on our podcast, so that was kind of cool. I have it all like sorted out, so when I was actually able to look at it, I was like, there's 50 names or whatever that like we've talked to for 2 hours a piece, and then there's another like 10 or 20 people that like we could get on down the road, and you know, not confirming that I am going to do another Road to the Lift Hard Live Easy video series because my God, was that consuming. But maybe, and if I do, that spreadsheet will be, instrumental.
Is that number one?
Yeah, that's number one. Are we keeping track?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
are you going to count how many times I say consume? That's two. I wonder if it's the over under's got to be a dozen, right? Like, I think I'd take the, oof. If it's the over under's a dozen, I think I'd go over.
I think if we hadn't pointed that out, it
Well,
would
yeah,
it would be
but like,
over, but now you're going
yeah.
to be conscious that we're counting, and you're going to try and you're going to pull out a thesaurus in a few minutes and try and find a different word.
What are
Thesaurus.com coming right up on Glaze
Yeah,
search.
what are some other what is it? Is it a simile? What's the word where it's like sound it's a similar meaning. What's that definition or what is that word that I'm
No,
thinking of?
simile is
Synonym.
yeah,
Synonym?
synonym. Simile is like a metaphor.
Oh, okay. And then
As an English nerd joke, you are all welcome.
Cultured men.
Right.
Somebody listening before I said that was a joke is gonna go, fucking nerd.
Last week's episode was a pretty big hit. Definitely, we had more active Discord memes and whatnot on our channel than we probably had in a while. So and there were several in Nate's direction, and then all of a sudden I start catching some strays from Matt and Mad Cow. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, but they were both good. When I think I don't get a chance to look at my phone a lot during the day. So then when I finally was like done with my morning and I had a chance to look at it, I was in my truck just like laughing hysterically at like Matt's. I was just kind of like, you're funny, you fuck. And then Mad Cow's was just like. It
Yep,
broke me. Like I was sitting there like laughing hysterically for 45 seconds when he posted the fucking
the
the
calendar.
calendar of yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Sunday listen to Massonomics podcast and everything else is blank, and then Thursday record you and you podcast, and I'm like, I mean,
I'm just
yes,
so busy.
those two things do happen every week, but there's also
Think
like
life, man. Think life.
100 hours of
We're double.
other
Think,
shit that
think, think,
happens.
think.
Hey, I didn't tell
Think
you guys
life's
to have
got you
kids. Don't
down.
be mad that you're have a busy life. But
On the
yeah, both
upside, you're
those
not
were
one of those
great.
people that calls your cats your kids.
I mean,
Yeah, do you
they
say
are
fur babies? Are we gonna kick you off this podcast right now?
no. I mean, I historically tell people that like my cats dying would mean more to me than that. Like 99% of the humans in the world dying. Like, and I will stand by that forever just because, that's going to affect my personal life and someone's random family member dying. Like, well, I don't care. Sorry. It sucks for you, but my cat's dying means more to me than that. I said that to someone once and they got like really offended. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, I can't
No,
see I can't see being offended by that. Maybe judging you a little for that,
Yeah.
but like I don't think I would be like offended you thought that way. I would
Yeah.
just be like, yeah, that sounds like you've got some therapy work to do, pal.
I don't know. I mean, pets are a pretty significant part of your life,
Exactly.
especially as a dink. Like
Yeah.
And I
you
wouldn't,
don't have
no. I wouldn't say I value like all animals more than all humans. I just
no,
value
just your
my
personal ones.
animals
Yeah,
more than most humans in the world.
yeah. I was pretty devastated when I had to put my cat down. Like I understand what you're saying.
Let's. I had a good segue, but it was kind of I don't want to build a segue off of a deceased cat.
Yeah,
So
I'd
I
rather
will I
not
will
either.
I will not.
I'm with
Pet
you on
cemetery.
that
Come on,
one,
let's go.
sir.
Well, yeah. Now that I said it, now that it's been out there, like I have to say it. So to play on Gary putting something down, I want to talk about how Anthony, refuses to put down a banana. I put it to him, would he rather shit himself or eat a banana? And he literally took shit himself as an adult over a banana. And I'm like, God damn, that's his hatred and disgust for bananas. It's so real. I wanted to like even follow up more, like to put a price, like what is the price? Like obviously, I don't think $100 would do it. Would $1,000 get like a mouthful of banana? Would $10,000 get a full banana? Like I am curious, Anthony, if you've if we put
Like,
you to the
I don't think
test,
this is
what?
about the banana anymore.
no. To Anthony's credit, like healthcare workers, they can tolerate a lot of bile stuff.
Mm.
And he's like working in EMS right now, so I can only imagine the level of stuff he's seen.
Yeah, definitely not getting much sleep. I imagine working that those long days. Um, so we got the power pole video. Anybody get a chance to watch that? The review video the boys put out.
Yeah, I watched that today.
Well, what
It
we'll
was
give
pretty
give
good.
tell Joey what it's about and what you guys thought of it.
It is a power pole like spec review, a little bit of the history from Chuck Vogelpohl. And then they had Boog's perspective, and then also Mark Rosenberg, Deadliest Lift, talking about the ups and downs of it. And Mark Rosenberg's plan was to have everyone that was there that week and sign it. And then Boog's like pats himself on the back as bringing one to bring it back into notoriety for
He
meme's
did.
sake.
He did.
I don't know. It looks pretty cool. If the price point wasn't as steep as it was, it's like $400 for the thing. I'd
Yeah,
probably buy one.
I think it's more like six delivered or something too. I think it's a little. And I
Yeah,
can't. I mean, outside of when Tommy posts his on Facebook Marketplace in the future, like you probably won't see him on Facebook Marketplace very often.
yeah. There was one at. Uh, well, actually, I don't even know if it was the same thing. I think it's a similar thing. It's like the Zercher only side of it, where it has like the three like stacks on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
They had one
the
of
front
those
squat
at.
vest.
that's more of just a
Yeah,
front squat thing though. Yeah.
yeah. They had one of those at Super Training. They didn't have the power pole though, but the power pole looks interesting. Like you could like the one highlight reel they showed of Boogs with like the long lever with the weight on the last pin setting and stuff, and doing those like partial deadlifts from the like 90 degrees up to like
Mhm.
45. That looked like it'd be really beneficial actually. So I can see
Yeah.
the merit of that, but it's not worth the if it's 600 delivered, hell no. Like I'd rather buy
Yeah.
something else with that.
It'd be neat to like. I don't know. It's almost a for parody's sake and for content's sake, it was kind of worth it for him. But I don't know, like
Yeah,
practically,
the
like
novelty is very high with that.
Six
yeah, I
hundred bucks
just
is two Texas power bars.
Yeah.
Like,
it might have been a little less, but I'm pretty sure it was. I thought they said it was five and then plus shipping, but maybe I misheard him.
No, I think that they said it was 450, but right now they had 10% off, so it was
Okay.
400 at checkout. But then they didn't even mention shipping.
was that
So
code
I mean, and then
unpaid?
also,
Hmm.
yeah, code unpaid, and then also the lead time is like 6 weeks for the thing too,
Yeah,
which is a
because it
little
was just
rough.
it was just a random like metal fabrication shop. I think that made it. It wasn't
Yeah,
like a gym equipment company necessarily,
right.
unless it's something I had never heard of. But yeah, that was. I couldn't come up with a whole lot of general topics this week. We'll obviously rate last week's episode. Before we do that, is there anything you saw in the Massonomics world, Gary, or in the lifting world that I missed?
How's
Oh,
your knee sleeves doing?
I'm not yeah, there you go. So I'm not powerlifting America. And like everyone's in up in arms about that
I
and like
know.
it literally affects like 1% of power like I don't know. So like out of the call it 300 people I know personally that powerlift, it affects like 10 of them. Like I
Hmm.
don't know.
Yeah,
Like
nerds.
like you
Yeah, that's
like
the whole thing. Is like it's a niche sport, and then like you're gatekeeping it even more. Like
Yeah.
you, like it's a dying sport, and then you're going to make it even harder for people to participate. Like, good job. Like,
but I think a lot of people that were saying that like SPD was behind it, like I do agree. SPD probably played a pretty big role in getting them to ban all their competition essentially. The IPF that is.
Yeah,
well,
But the
but
that's no
IPF's
big
in
deal for
trouble.
you. You got the whole suit.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
You're
use SPD sleeves myself, so like, but
yeah,
also like I'm not a power
guilty as
lifter,
charged.
and I'll never be in the IPF because like I'm
Yeah,
weak as shit.
powerlift. Yeah, I don't even know if there's a
Like,
powerlifting America. I don't even know. I don't even know what Canada's IPF is. There's not a powerlifting America in Canada. I don't think.
probably
Oh
not.
no, there wouldn't be. It wouldn't be unless it's yeah. What the fuck is there? Whatever
It's
Bittner
America. It's
probably
North
competed
America.
in.
There's the CPL, the Canadian Powerlifting
Okay,
something.
is that what it is? Yeah, so I guess whatever the feeder to the IPF is, I mean, there has to be something.
Yeah, but like I'm never gonna do that. So I
Yeah,
literally
no,
don't
you gotta
care
do
what
what's local.
sleeves. Yeah.
Yeah,
If I ever powerlift again, because like again, fucking nerd sport where they're all up in arms about
You're
knee
on the orange juice too, Joey?
on it. They're up in arms
That
about
was so
a
funny.
knee sleeve that's banned from a federation they'll never be in. Like I don't. What are you mad about? You're mad on other people's behalf. It's bozo shit. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
that's
yes,
social media for you.
yeah. And that's why I like the only reason I know anything about it is because of the Discord. And then my Instagram started showing me people making fun of it. And then I was just like, I I'm putting my phone down. That was how that
Mhm.
went. I'm gonna go lift for a bit. Yeah, I don't have any other general topics. Like it was a bit of a
Yeah, I felt like last week we had like a
Slow week.
million. It was just a kind of like with everything. It's like even with like supporting your members, it's like he'll have 30 1 week and then nothing 1 week basically. And it's kind of I feel like our general topics kind of feel like that sometimes where I looked at the notes today and I was just like, obviously I'm a dink, so I was very busy. I had no time to look at the show notes until a little bit ago. So I looked and I'm like, fuck, we don't have anything in here under general topics. It's like racking my brain. I was like, all right, what the fuck happened this week? Like nothing stood out. Usually I like add stuff periodically through the week that kind of stood out, but it was like it was a low key chill week. Granted, we probably forgot about like six really pivotal things that like we
yeah,
should talk about, but I don't fucking remember.
the David
I
Jordan
Anyone
mean,
stuff.
listening
this
live? Yeah, I mean that was we covered a lot of stuff last week as far as the drop. I mean, people are getting them now, so I guess yeah, okay. So give us your 90-second review of the of your coaster there, Gary.
it's very high quality. I appreciate the print on it. As like Big Matt, I was a little bit disappointed that it doesn't fit in the XL drink spotter.
Hmm.
Uh, but overall, it's a good product, and I like the thoroughness in the packaging with the double rubber bands, so the history card didn't get destroyed or the stickers with this thing because it was just like this sandwiched with the other one and rubber banded together in a mylar bag in
As
the
far as
post.
the print itself is pretty crisp because I don't think they talked a decent amount of detail how they made it, but they didn't get into the weeds about because they had to have like went and got it like I don't know. It's not paint. It's some kind of is it etched in it or is it just like an embossed like what is the actual how would you consider the logo itself?
It's not embossed. I almost want to say it's screen printed or silk screened
Okay,
on,
I can see that.
uh, but it might be like it's printed on in some fashion, I would imagine, because it doesn't have any edges or anything like a sticker, and you can. I just scratched at it a little bit and peeled it. So yeah, it's something that's like printed onto it.
Um, we just ruined Gary's coaster for the sake of the podcast. So I'm glad we were able to do
There's three more in the package.
that. Two. It's
That was
only a
just
two pack.
these two,
It's a
actually.
two pack.
Oh,
But
okay. So it was a two per.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. And I was going to offer them up to you because you guys said on Nate's episode you missed the drop. So
Ah,
if
I'm
you don't want
still
to wait
not
for the
sure.
next drop,
I'm good. I don't I'm trying to like rack like where would I put that in my house? Like they're not going in my living room. I don't know where I'd put them in the basement, so I'm not sure if I'm a
under
buyer.
your certified training facility banner.
I don't know. Sometimes I can't buy everything.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I
I'll
mostly
have
just
to,
want the sticker and the card.
the
The
sticker would
coasters
be cool. I would
themselves.
take the sticker over. It's like I got 20 stall mats. I'm good.
uh,
I do appreciate the bit and the the whole thing, but I don't know.
I got yeah, that one. I want that card. The Matthew Horstel card.
Oh,
Yeah.
the artificial intelligence picture, the AI pic.
They're
It
all
looks
AI
kind of like
picks.
Andrew Jackson.
True.
All the
Yeah, that's why
internet's AI picks right now.
yeah. Oh, ours was pretty ours actually we talk about that should have been in general topics. I made that the AI one of us. That was was pretty yours
The action figure.
yours looks yeah. So Joey's face doesn't look anything like it, but his beard and like his stature is very very accurate.
Yep.
Whereas mine's just a bald dude that's skinnier than me, and I'm like it's just like because like in that picture I really dim like I think I'm fairly clean shaven and I'm pretty freshly head cut. Which I haven't looked like that for probably a few years, at least not
Freshly
regularly.
head cut.
Yeah, as soon as I said it, I was like, "That's
It's not
you know,
wrong, but
it's
it's
not
not right either.
not in order." Yeah, I mean, like
It's the AI version of a haircut.
I talk phonetically sometimes. I guess like
I
I
went
just
into for a head cut.
uh yeah. But no, it was funny, and I was that was the long. So like I've done a handful of Chat GPT things. I've never but usually it's like you tell it to make a picture. I've never actually had it. I think I've tried in the past where I'm like, make this in a cartoon and it wouldn't do it or something. So when I saw it working for everybody else, like, oh, well, I'll try it now. But it took like 5, 10 minutes for that image to populate. Like it was forever. It was like, this will take a long time. And I'm just like, just because I was afraid if I went to another screen or something, it wouldn't keep loading. So I just like sat my phone down and just had it go for at least 5 minutes. And I wasn't disappointed, at least overall. I think you did the writing on your hat was a little wrong, but like
It
everything
said
else
light.
was,
It actually
yeah,
said LITE, and I was like, yeah, well, okay.
light, lightweight, baby.
Yeah.
When you
But
made
yeah,
that, like you had to enter each of the individual prompts. Like, here's a photo of this gentleman
I
named
just
Joey.
did.
Here's this picture of me.
So I think what did I specifically? I think I sent it to our group chat last night, but it was like, make this a art, make this an action figure, make this image an action figure. They are both podcasters. The one on the left likes Jägermeister, the one on the right likes chicken parm, and that was it. So I wish it had utilized some podcast stuff. It didn't do anything with the podcast at all, but I don't know, I was pretty impressed with it, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was,
Okay.
you
I
sent
wasn't
it to,
sure if there was just like a ready-made like style one because those things like sweep social media super hard, like the Studio Ghibli one, and now the action figure ones, like everyone's doing those. So I wasn't sure if there's like a preset thing of trending chat
I
GPT
had to
features.
Google like how to fucking because a lot of times those used to be apps. Like you'd have to go download a random app that would steal all your images and shit, which I'm sure ChatGPT does the same thing. But because I had to like, so then I finally found it was like, oh, it was just that that chat app or whatever. I always want to say I still, without really thinking, I still don't know. Like off the top of my head, I can't tell you if it's GPT or GBT. Like I know, but I just interchangeably call it the same thing because it's not a word I've used enough in my life to like instinctively know what to say. Um, but yeah, it was interesting.
I got
Uh,
my new pair of barefoot shoes today.
oh, the one you put your gift
What
card towards, right?
models you go with?
Yeah, I went with the Osos, the slip-ons,
Nice,
so that I can wear
nice.
them. I think I can wear them to work actually, which is kind of nice because they look a little dressy. And I can wear them on weekends when I don't have to wear pointed dress shoes. So I'm pretty amped about that. They're little, they feel smaller than all my other ones that I ordered of the same size, but I think I
Mm.
just need to break them in like any suede shoe, right? Like,
Like
but
left
yeah,
to right or like length?
toes. They feel a little
Mm.
boxier on the toes, but that could also just because I wear dress shoes all week and my toes are just mad at having to wear foot
Yeah.
prisons. And yeah, but I used my gift card towards that and got the notification they're going to be delivered today. So I kept waiting for the customs clearance and all the other jazz that comes with that. And instead, I got it delivered. And they were sitting on my front porch when I was done in the gym. And I was like,
There you go.
okay, like that's a rare occasion because the last time I think I had to pay an extra $30 on my barefoot shoes. So I'll take it.
Uh,
Was
now
was that Canada
we're
Post?
No, it went DHL, which is how like what I like about DHL is they'll text me in advance. So I'll get a thing saying cleared customs, and then within 20 minutes, I get like an email or a text that says, you owe this much. Would you like to prepay so we can just drop it off? So that's what I was waiting for. And I didn't get that. So I guess it makes up for all the other times. I
mhm.
guess customs was just like, yeah, they're just shoes. Who cares? So, and they're
So you
dope.
said
They're gorgeous.
so you said you were down in the gym. Were you sitting in a rowboat or did you get that figured out already?
Yeah, no, it took some work, but we got the gym back together today.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the first heavy squat I've done actually pretty much since I had the flu back in February. And like I think I missed an episode because of that flu that week, I think.
Yeah.
Like that's how
Yeah.
bad that was. And
You were pretty hurting.
I'm actually back up close to regular weight finally, the middle or the first week of April, back up to like close to my body weight again.
Good.
And yeah, Juggernaut was like, "You're gonna squat 3 plates," and I was like, "Yeah, I am. Let's do it."
Mhm.
And I don't think I've done that actually since before last year because the Juggernaut Strongman app does not have you do heavy 1 or 2
Mhm.
reps, right? It has you do light multi reps, which isn't the word I'm looking for. And but yeah, first time I've had 3 plates on. And actually, it told me to do 310, and I was like, no, we're not doing 310. We're gonna go
Wait, so
3 plates because like
did
forget
you go
that.
back to regular Juggernaut then, or was that just a random strongman thing?
It's Juggernaut Strongman for now. I'm gonna ride out the
Okay.
12-week program just to see how
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel about it.
It did have a heavy squat day, you're saying though,
Yeah.
but it's mostly
Oh,
been
and yeah,
volume.
yeah. I didn't do what I did last time where I was like, screw you, Juggernaut. I feel like doing other stuff. No, this time I was like, I'm gonna do what you're telling me. And I don't think I hit depth, but like I had a second rep in me, which is wild because I think 345 is my former one rep max. So 315 for a 9
Ooh.
RPE is like pretty
Yeah,
fucking decent.
take it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, time for the Juggernaut ad read. It creeps up
Mhm.
on you how effective Juggernaut is. Like if you really dial in and like give it honest feedback and stick to the programming. I think at one of my meets last year, 150 on my bench was my opener. And then I go in and it's like, okay, you're going to do 150 for 3. And I was like, yeah, fucking right I am. And I did and had more in me. And I was like, what? I
Mhm.
distinctly remember racking the third rep and yelling, what the fuck? Because it flew up so easy, but it's all the overhead press because the overhead press immediately translates to bench, but the powerlifting programming doesn't have you do overhead. So it's just,
I
yeah.
don't get any carryover from overhead on bench.
Oh, I
Uh,
apparently I do.
I don't lose anything. Like I took a year off of benching basically, and I went down like 8 pounds from my PR. So like, and if I had spent more than 6 weeks benching, I probably would have been able to still hit like my PR or a little more. So I wouldn't say it hurts, but I mean, I would say there's a decent amount of carryover, or at least maintaining ability.
It Juggernaut Strongman will have you benching, but never anything heavy. And then out of nowhere, it goes, yeah, you're going to do this. And you just do it. I think I've lost some strength on my deadlift because I was doing elevated pulls or block pulls today, and I was only able to do like 365 for a couple, which is kind of wild because I formerly have like a 450-pound deadlift, and now I'm like tired after a couple 365. So, but that could
Right.
also just have been after doing a heavy squat. And deadlifting sucks.
Yeah, the fatigue. And then
Yeah.
also, like you were saying, I think on past episodes, it focuses more on like volumes, like multiple repetitions of deadlift rather than like heavy singles and
Yeah,
stuff. So that
and I
stands to reason too.
and I want a log so bad. Every time I'm
Mhm.
scrolling Instagram and I see somebody lifting a log, I'm so jealous.
I
Anyway,
want. I had to carry, so I fucking had to carry. My coach had log on me. Had log press the other day, and I was like, I could just do the Cadillac bar in the basement if I really want to, because it was fucking 20 degrees outside. I was like, I'm not going to the goddamn garage. So I ended up with the new log. I was like, the Titan one's about 13 inches, even though it says it's 12 inches in diameter. And the new one I have is like a true 12-inch log because I know it's a solid inch and a half, like less diameter than the other one, even though they're both quote unquote 12 inches. So I was like, let me carry this one down and see if I have a little more clearance between the joists. So I was able to clean and strict press between the floor joists, but I couldn't do it. There was no way I could have done any kind of a push or even wear heels, but I at least was able to get my volume in on log. So that was interesting. The shittiest thing he had me do that day, um, I had to do sandbag picks, which I've never done. So like 3 sets of 5 of just like, picking it, lapping it, and then just standing up with it, but no triple extension or no like shoulder or back, like over bar or anything. Just literally just pick it up and stand up, erect with it. Those sucked because it was
those
like,
two suck.
I was like, this is shitty. And then to segue into that today, I saw Andrew Garrison, Jake has all his guys doing the other programs doing some sandbag squats, and I saw that in the video, and I was like, that's worth trying. I've never done one of those. So I made the mistake of just like at the end of a deadlift session today where I was completely smoked and my hamstrings, I could barely feel them. I walk over, I grab my 175 bag. I pick it up pretty easy. I go to squat down with it. I get like, I don't know, halfway, I just get like 2 or 3 inches into my descent. I'm just like, nope, and just drop it. I was like, there's no way. This feels horrible. I did go back and pick up the 100 just for some like form. I just wanted to like feel it. And I was like, oh, I could definitely get the heavier weight if I actually just attempted it like with effort, but sandbag squat seemed very unpleasant.
Okay, so quick 5-minute sidebar here. Gary, do you use a sandbag?
I do not. Well, yeah, I do not currently. I the only sandbags I used in the past were Ultimate Sandbag brand, which is like a duffel bag style
Mhm.
Oh
sandbag.
yeah, I've seen
And it
I have
those.
doesn't
a
really
Never know.
feel like
Yeah, I have two of those. I have 25 and 50. Okay, so we all know the whole joke is I use pea gravel for two of my sandbags. Okay, and I have the Bells of Steel one, which is around 100 pounds, and I have the Inukshuk, which I fill to about 106, 110. First thing, I had to actually take the sandbag downstairs that Morgan brought upstairs,
Hmm.
and I
step thump,
bend.
step thump, step thump.
Yeah, so I bend down to pick it up, and it's leaning against something, and that thing falls on my head. So I'm already frustrated. And then my kid comes and stands behind me and goes, Daddy, what are you doing? And I'm like, get out of the way. And Morgan goes, move so daddy can pick that up. And then she moves, and my other kid comes and goes, what did you guys say? And stands right behind me on my second attempt. So
I've never been happier to be a dink.
I go, I look, they're both in the kitchen. I grab the thing that fell on my head and I throw it across the living room. It was the back trunk of my car. I just yeet that thing and I got the sandbag back downstairs. But when you fill a sandbag, because I have a 150-pound bag, and after doing bag over bar last 2 weeks ago or something with the 100-pound, it was too easy. I want more weight. Do you dry out your sand first?
And there's like mixed. If you go to like there's a couple like I've done a fair amount of research on this, and like people that sell you the bag want you to put dry sand in there, but like most people don't. So but I would recommend if you put wet sand in it and you weigh it again a month later, because you
Yeah.
probably lost 10 pounds. I
So
actually need
what?
to weigh my 175 because I put in fucking frozen sand because my in-laws brought me like the shittiest sand for Christmas. That was like bricks of frozen sand, but it was all I had at the time. It's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna fill that bitch up, and then I have not reweighed it yet.
So are you
Merry
not worried about
Christmas.
mold? Because when I do the pea gravel, I lay it out on a tarp, I wash it, I let it dry in the sun, I spin it so that it dries on all sides. So like I have minimal dust and minimal
Yeah,
mold and minimal moisture.
that's probably a
That's
good
my
idea, but
concern is
I don't
like,
know.
how do I dry out sand? Because it's not as easy to pick up as like you just, you lose some
Yeah,
sand. You lose way more sand than you lose pea gravel.
I
So
would
that's my
like,
main concern. I'm going to buy sand because I'm going to sandbag this bag. Like I'm going to
yeah,
have a sandbag and my pea gravel bags because I want to test the difference. Maybe I'll make a video of that. But I
there you
don't want
go.
to put moldy sand in my expensive
Yeah, I
grain
mean,
fed bag.
I've had the Bells of Steel bag for over a year now, and so Big Chris Mark won it in the competition. Actually, I probably had it for a year and a half. So I think he won that in a strongman show we did together, the cancer charity one. And then our friend Lucas, friend of the podcast, actually got it from Chris, took it to a beach near his house and filled it up with sand from the beach and then delivered it to my house. So it was wet all year
Yeah.
because it had like wet beach sand in it, wet free beach sand at least.
So
But
if you open it, does it smell of
I
mold?
think I added like so I because okay, so that one specifically I think I added so I think I got into a sandbag like OCD thing like 6 months ago. So and I would like weighed them all and I was like, oh, this fucker's only like 141 or something. So I did fill that up to 150 even, and I didn't have any issues with smell or anything when I opened it up.
Okay.
Um, but it
That's
was
my
definitely
that's
like
my main concern of sand.
it was
Sorry.
wet. If you put wet sand in it, I will say that like my sand, like anytime I would move it from like wherever it was at the previous session, it was wet on the ground. But like, so it was like moisturing. God damn, we are butchering words tonight. But I'm gonna go moisturing sounds right, but it's not a word. But it was osmosising water
Moisturizing,
Yeah.
through.
Oh, we're gonna get in
No,
shit for this
moisturizing is not
episode.
the. I wouldn't say because I'm moisturizing does not.
sweating, like
It
it
was
was
Yeah,
sweating.
like,
it was
yeah.
sweating would be the right word because it was like my stall mat would be like this perfect circle of, moisture. So I
What
Okay.
don't know.
about those like
I think you're good
desiccation
either way.
packs?
So I'll take my scale
Yeah, there you
to
go.
the lumber yard or to the landscaping yard, get as much top sand as I can that's dry, and just fill that to 150
Yeah.
pounds. All right.
What about putting like a tarp inside to make it like impregnable from moisture?
Well, I would
Then
dry it in the
then
sun.
it will literally never dry, I think, and that'd be
Yeah,
worse
I'm in
overall.
a basement, right? It's already high
Yeah,
moisture. I'm thinking if I do
Lysol
anything,
them every so often to kill any like surface
I don't know.
bacteria.
I've had
I'll
def
just throw silica packages in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that's
I'm
probably the
not worried
easiest
about
thing.
mine, and mine definitely had wet sand in them.
All right. Yeah,
But
well,
you can also buy more expensive sand from the hardware store that theoretically would be dry and stored inside. But
it's never dry.
Extra dry sand.
Yeah. That's where I got the pea gravel. It was soaked. Should we rate last week's episode?
yeah, let's
I'll,
get to
I'll
it.
wait for the Discord to school me on this one.
Gary, did you get a chance to watch it, buddy? Or listen to it. What'd you think?
Yeah, let's do it twice. I thought it was a good episode. I was
Twice.
expecting a little bit more of
Home gym
the
aspect,
home
yeah.
gym reviews,
Same.
but didn't really get into like the expansion over the course of the year. But that's fine. Like it was interesting. I think the other parts of the episode outside of the title topic were pretty entertaining. I would give it 5 out of 5. Entitled "Facebook Marketplace Flakes Ruining Your Day."
Damn, that's what I was gonna rate it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. There was a lot of. I think this the episode where he talked about maybe an orange juice, right? Because I think I
Yep.
touched base on that last episode because I had just listened to it, but hearing it again last Sunday and having Stephanie listen to it, oh, it was very amusing. Tommy ranting on his marketplace adventures, and like anyone that sold anything on marketplace could like feel that pain and that suffering and that frustration because marketplace is a cesspool, and if you're not thick-skinned, and you know it gets you on your nerves. And I do get if I'm not making at least $100 off something now, it's like for me, I'm gonna sell something if I can make like 40 or $50, but like because if I had to if the $100 was a limit, I would just end up throwing shit away, like too much shit
Mhm.
away. But I do go out of my way to not sell a whole lot on marketplace at all anymore. I try to like give stuff away or just throw it away. But it's yeah, it is very, I don't know. I fucking hate working. I hate selling stuff on marketplace. It's miserable.
Yeah.
Um, the vintage car dash talk was kind of funny because like I've never outside of my wife's car, like I drive my car's older than Tommy's car, so there's not a single power control. There's no power windows, there's no power doors, there's no locks. Literally every single thing is manual in my car. So I don't want to upgrade my car to a new one because it's going to be so foreign. But so I can definitely relate to anyone that's like, oh, I wish everyone's like, oh, we should have all these throwback cars. And I was like, you mean my daily? Like, it makes me feel old that they're talking about cars that are 20 years old. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I guess my car is damn near that old. But for all those reasons, I will go ahead and give it 5 out of 5s. 5 out of 5. Is this still available?
I reactivated my Facebook account for two reasons: to be involved in any community events for my kids and Facebook Marketplace, and I have yet to buy a single thing on Facebook Marketplace. And it's honestly in my area, like you go and you look and they're selling the weights that I bought at $1 a pound for $1.50 a pound. And you're like, but I can buy those brand new for $1. Like what are you thinking? And then they have just unnamed power bars everywhere. And I messaged the one guy and I'm like, who made this? Because it looked like a Kabuki bar that he was selling for $200. And if it was a Kabuki deadlift bar for $200, I was going to get it.
Well, yeah.
And then he's just like, I don't know. I'm like, how do you have it? Like, I just
Yeah.
generally ask, like, how do you have that? You
Ask
don't
for
know who
pictures of
made
the
it.
end cap.
Oh, I
You need
know.
pictures of the end caps
I
to
could
see that.
have, but like
Yeah.
at that point, I was like, it's not a Kabuki because nobody accidentally has a Kabuki,
Yeah.
right? So at that point, I was just like, okay, thank you. I was just checking to see if it was a specific brand. And that's like the only thing I've ever done on Facebook Marketplace. I have a couple things I want to sell, but I think at this point, I'll just donate them to
Yeah,
Value Village.
I know you well enough. You would not handle
No,
selling
God,
something on
no.
Marketplace well. You'd literally like it would be the rant that Tommy went on would literally just be like a 1/10 of what you would do on this episode
Oh, yeah.
if you sold one thing on Marketplace because
Yeah.
you would be so mad.
At that rate,
Yeah.
the things I want to sell, what I paid for them versus what I would make back, I would be losing money. I just want them out of my gym.
Yeah.
They
Well, you
can
can a
go
Mor
to the
Morgan
religious
list them.
shop. Yeah, no, God
Yeah.
no. No, I'm not
Yeah.
putting her
You
through
would
that.
lose your shit, Joey.
Yeah,
Because
those can go to the religious shop. I'll tell them I paid $1 a pound. That's what they are brand new. Sell them for 50 cents a pound. You'll have them out the door in a minute. Enjoy. Right? Like that's essentially what I would do at this rate. Um, I don't recall much about the episode, to be honest, except for that rant there and the we used to be a proper country
And
segment.
there's what was the we used to be the top what was where so it was the car. What else did they
the
talk about for oh, a
Smoking
smoking
section.
section.
section. Like, do you guys remember? Okay, well, did Canada have smoking
Oh
sections?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Like
I have
probably longer than we did too. I imagine too,
yep.
maybe
Yeah, I
because I
know
think like
my
2008. I think it was at least because it was a state by state thing down here, I believe. So like West Virginia, I want to say maybe no, it had to be before 2008 because there was no smoking when I was working in 2000. So it had to be like the late 90s then because
yeah.
I started work. I my first job in food service was been like 2001, and there was definitely no smoking then. So yeah,
So
90s.
we had smoking sections, okay, and then they went to this thing where you could have a smoking section, but it needed to be like walled.
Yeah, I
And
remember that
then yeah,
kind of.
and then we used to call that the zoo. So you would like Tim Hortons specifically built an entire section of their restaurants where it would be a glass filled aquarium for the smokers. And it had to have its
Yeah.
own separate ventilation. And it would be like, if you were going in, you'd be like, haha, look at the zoo. Like you would laugh at those people in there. Um, and then I think my mom's boss built an entire section. And then a year later, they said you can't have it anymore. Like they completely screwed around up here. But we used to be a proper country where you could just smoke next to non-smokers and kill your kids. Um,
Oh, you know what
Yeah,
it
that
was?
was a
Now that
brief
there
thing
was
because I
you.
remember you saying the zoo jogged in my memory because Keith, you mentioned your first job and but my first job was working at a Walmart and then the break room had what Joe is calling a zoo. It had like a separate break room for people who wanted to smoke and it looked like an interrogation room from like a crime movie or whatever. Just everyone would go in there and smoke and it had like huge industrial fans on the ceiling
yeah.
to pull it out of the building.
And ours were all plexiglass. Every Tim Hortons built them out of clear
Yeah,
plexiglass. And that's, yeah, you
yeah.
just you had the zoo where you could go and see all the smokers behind glass. It was really funny.
I think you
Um,
could smoke in bars when I first. Well, I need to like go back and like look. 'Cause I think the food service went no smoking well before bars. Because I vaguely remember being in bars as a minor with like people smoking legally.
in Canada, I know that I wasn't legally allowed to drink before, and I didn't drink before I was legally allowed, but they,
Me neither. Yeah, yeah. Wink,
yeah,
wink.
they didn't, they got rid of the smoking sections before that for sure, right? Because I remember being a kid going in there, and that's when they had built the zoo. And then they said you could smoke on the patios, but not if there was an umbrella or a ceiling. And then they said no, you just can't smoke on any licensed grounds. So yeah, they went really weird up here because they did it in phases where they were just, and it was a big thing. People got really upset about it, and there's a whole argument against the public sphere at that point, right? If you're smoking, you don't need to smoke around me, like that
Right.
type of thing, right? If I'm smoking a cigar, I'm not smoking in people's faces. I'm smoking in my backyard, and if my kids get into my downwind, I move because I don't want them involved. Like but it's just
The
as the
whole
American.
secondhand smoke thing, yeah.
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 I do want to say there was one thing that I think I made Tanner laugh pretty hard when I said you can pry my heated steering wheel out of my cold dead hands.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, he commented that was a really funny comment because I remember buying my car and all I wanted was Apple Play. That was the only thing I cared about. Was I wanted a car with a touch screen with Apple Play. Apple Play?
CarPlay.
CarPlay,
Yeah, CarPlay.
I think.
And it came with heated seats and a steering wheel. And then I was like, I don't need those. Those are luxuries. And now my heated steering wheel is on every time I drive. It is the best thing about that. It's so much better, especially in the winter because you got the leather steering wheel and it's cold as shit. And then it just heats up slowly and then gets so hot you can't handle it. And then it shuts itself off automatically. My wife hates it. She won't even turn it on when she's driving the car. The heated seats I could do without. Like I don't really care. They're a luxury, but the heated steering wheel is like every car I get's gonna have one of those if it has nothing else.
Is Morgan a full-fledged driver? Am I
No,
misremembering? She like learned how
no,
to drive recently, right?
she's still learning. We're gonna get her
Okay,
there.
good deal.
We're working on parking right now.
Nice.
Will
All
Keith get a
right.
new laptop before Morgan learn how to drive first?
Oh,
She might
there's
get her
Nate's
license
website.
before I
There's Nate's website.
So I
Place
Nate,
your
was like
bets now, gents.
I was full tilt gonna drop like 2 grand last weekend because this thing was acting up and she's been good. Well, literally like something inside of it, some fan was clogged or something because I turned it on and it sounded like a diesel engine and I turned it on and off like 5 times. Tried to take it apart and couldn't figure out how to actually pry it apart and I didn't want to break anything. So then I took it out and when like yeah, I didn't have any condensed air, so the old air compressor did good and I don't know, she's been nice and she's been purring like a kitten ever since. But obviously, she is on her last leg, and I would like to go with an Apple computer. I think just for the ability to go get shit off my phone to my computer a lot easier. But I don't know. That's I should do it sooner than later because shit ain't gonna get any cheaper with tariffs. So I'm not kind of concerned that a $1,500 computer is gonna be 3 grand in 6 months if I dick around and wait.
yep. Stop dicking around. Stop waiting. And yeah, having a Mac computer with an iPhone, like yeah, you'll see you make your life so much easier because like you're
Yeah,
responding to, you can put your phone down and you're responding to everything on your computer. Like it,
Yeah, has iMessage.
Yeah.
I get to it too
FaceTime.
low. All right. Well, let's big
And you don't even
big
have to
kind
like airdrop. You don't even have
yeah,
to airdrop between your phone and your laptop. It'll just back up to the iCloud or whatever.
Yep. I share this podcast through our iMessage chat. I record it on Zoom and I share the files through there through the Apple Drive, through the iCloud Drive. Like it's all perfect. So anyway, yeah, let's get the guest on the horn.
well, let's see if we'll do an ad read for us first.
All right. Were you a sickly child who refused to latch to his mother's breast in favor of Johnny's good ass milk, causing your growth to be stunted at 5'4 3/4", resulting in a number of schoolyard write-ups for roughhousing and horseplay, which in later years would help you horsecock 600 libras on a barbell bench press in high school gym class in between stints as an all-season bench warmer? Well, my friend, enter the pantheon of hetero life mate duos in popular media. Bert and Ernie, Ren and Stimpy, Batman and Robin, Beavis and Butthead, Wayne and Garth, Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew, Jay and Silent Bob, and now Tanner and Tommy have been hosting Massonomics podcasts for 6 of the last 9 years. Because tomorrow you're back at work, where you can't stand being the little man. Despite your growling, you can't get ahead. No one really laughs at your stories anymore, but that's okay. For $3 a month, you can become a supporting member of an exclusive Discord full of like-minded middle-aged men and a few chocolate chips who will laugh at your weed, dick, and fart jokes and applaud your unimpressive lifting and life achievements. Please consider becoming crew.
Well done.
Very
Well
good.
done.
Lots of references. Massonomics.com/join.
I dig it. All right. Yeah, let's kick these looky-loos off and see if you can get Gary on the horn over there, Joey.
Hey, is your name Gary?
No, I'm sorry. It's not. Fortunately, it's Brad.
No, so
Yeah,
today we
that's
have
the origin story.
I have the luxury of hearing that sitting at the waterfalls in Sioux Falls, where we all finally asked, "What the hell?" So yeah, we've got Big Gary, known in the Discord, but real name is Brad or Branken, and and yeah, welcome to Unpaid and Underrated.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, it's been a while.
It's been
Thank you.
Wow.
Keith didn't say it, so I was waiting for
Sorry, I
somebody to do
was
it.
fucking my phone was blowing up, so I had to, I'm a distracted
Oh, you're so
podcaster.
important. My phone is my
Well, he's
dink
very busy.
lifestyle. Yeah, he's very busy.
I
Busy
am
guy.
busy. Fuck you guys.
Big state, big state, Mr. Empire State, very busy.
All right. Let's get to the first. I'll actually ask you about the Big Gary thing at some point. But let's get through all the standard stuff. What brought you to Massonomics?
It was coming off of my last powerlifting meeting last March, and my coach is like, "We're going to go into a hypertrophy block. I want you to gain like a good 25 pounds from where you're at." And I was just like racking my brain, trying to come up with ways to gain weight conveniently. And I guess the search engine was paying attention and suggested the Massonomics Chicken Bake Challenge. And I've been eating at Costco for lunch for the past year. Still haven't gained any weight. I've gained maybe 10 pounds. That's about it. But that was what I was before I cut for the meat anyway.
But
So,
your sodium levels are just a doctor's
through
dream.
the roof. My blood pressure is a nightmare. But yeah, I think that's what got me in the door. And then it was maybe like a gym tour video on YouTube, and I started listening to the podcast after that. And then it was the build up to the Lift Hard Live Easy 2. They had mentioned how it sold out, and then like being crew is probably the best way to do it. And it just sounded like a hell of a good time. And signed on the line, joined up, and for my shot to be in the Lift Hard Live Easy 3, was able to do it. So I'll see you guys in July. But yeah, that's what brought me to crew. And also the supporting members and all the stupid like Midwest colloquialisms, like put one in the old vice, like just the cheesy stuff like that.
We'll use that one in a minute.
Yeah, that's what got me in the door. Made me laugh, and sporting members seemed like a cool thing.
Well, we've got you at Big Gary in the Discord.
Yeah.
What is your Instagram for people who might want to figure out who you are?
The personal one where I'm the most active as far as responding to texts and stories and stuff like that is at NPC_Gary. And then my training log one, if you want to see the lifting videos, is Norwood and Crushing Debt, all one word.
Oh, good. I follow all of those. That was fun. That's usually a fun learn. It's like, wait a minute, I do follow you. Uh,
So yeah, I saw you hold up your cards earlier. You want to hit us with your stats there on your on your Big Gary business cards?
Yeah, I'm crew number 422 since June 5th of 2024. And then I am at 8 achievements on the Hall of Fame. This tonight is number 8.
Nice.
And then July, I'm going to get quite a few more. So I'm going to jump, I think, into the double digits
Oh,
at
so
Lift Arts at the Sea.
still a little shy of cup level though. It sounds like you have to
Yeah,
get on that.
yeah, working
422.
on it.
That's 422 might be in the. I think we've had a. Who was? I don't know. 422 is definitely you might be one of the highest. You're in the top 69% of higher
but
membership numbers.
but your presence at
I'm
Crew Falls.
dismayed. I'm off by
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, 420 would have been amusing.
Yeah, your presence at Crew Falls is the reason such a high number is on here too, right? So, um, what is one piece of Massonomics merch that you see some of us wearing that you wish you had?
Of the attire, I would say the blaze orange beanie with the Massonomic N that you were wearing at Crew Falls, Joey.
I want that.
Because like I wasn't even aware that was a product. And when I
No one
lived in
was. We all thought it
Anchorage,
was fucking red.
there was a like a
You
rookie
thought it
Pisses
was
me
red.
off.
store.
You
The whole
thought it was red.
fucking everyone in the goddamn Discord thought it was red until someone posted it next to something red, and it was a whole fucking thing. Oh, that still chaps my ass. Because my friend bought me it for free, and I would have picked the fucking orange one if I knew it was orange. That's just
So
my
I'm
fault for
not
not going to the
like a
Arnold in
big beanie guy,
2022.
but that's one thing that speaks to me. It's because it's in orange.
Yeah, I ended up buying the second round of beanies. So I have the gray one that has the Massonomics script on it. But it fits my kids. It does not fit me. Like I can only wear it to like a certain like it's very small. So I think that I actually rarely wear that one because it just feels like it's strangling my head slowly.
Save it for if you want to become a barista.
What? Like I know, but like damn it. Are you certified over there?
I am a certified training facility, yes.
Yeah, buddy.
I've recently had to relocate, so I may have to recertify. I switched apartment numbers.
Well, you didn't certify your apartment number, did you?
No, just my gym, but the whole joke is kind of moot now that I'm in a different unit
Oh.
because the gym name is Alamo Basement, and I used to be on the second floor. Now I'm on the first floor. I guess it still works, but
Yeah. It still works.
All right. So when you were getting ready to come on the podcast and you had send out the questionnaire to a handful of people, how'd you explain you and you to them, or anyone that why you literally took today off of work, I believe, didn't you? Because you were trying to get on
I
the
did.
podcast. We've been trying to get you on for 3 or 4 months now, and I'm like, I have this night, I have this night, and you're like, nope, can't do that, can't do that. And I was like, you finally were just like, God damn it, I'm just gonna take the day off. And I was like, all right, that's dedication. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's so I usually go to the gym uh Sunday, Monday, and then Thursday, Friday. And then Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, I have a personal training client. And I was also doing PRN work at a skilled nursing facility on Sundays. So like that's part of why I was so busy. But yeah, I took the day off. Um, and when I sent the questionnaire out, I just said like, hey, could you please fill this out? I'm going to be a guest on a podcast. I'd really appreciate your help in answering these questions so they have a little bit more to go off of. And I didn't realize how much of a ghost I was online. I didn't have any information to go off of other than the Instagram stories. I guess you guys got feedback on or whatever.
We eventually got some stuff for you. I definitely. I'm sorry if I think I pestered you a handful of times because like your people sucked up until you
Yeah,
happened to pestering
yeah.
them. Like I was like 3 days out and I look and I was expecting to be like 8 submissions and there's one. I'm like, what the fuck, Gary? It's like this isn't like we're pretty good at podcasting, but like I can't work off of this. And it wasn't a really well filled. It wasn't a ample filled
Mm.
amply is not the right word. Ample. There was not an ample amount
Yeah,
of
it wasn't
information in
completed.
it.
Yeah,
Amply.
yeah. And then like
I
the
just
one of the guys that I had fill it out last minute, like he was going through his own like personal stuff, and so it felt really bad sending it to him. But that's
it's
why I only had it sent out to two people initially, and then
you're
the
good.
third guy joined in
That's all good.
last minute. It was just like, hey, could you do me this solid? Because I know he's not working right now.
We appreciate you getting it back to us. That'll work. It all worked out good. Um, well, I think I'm gonna hit you with some least fun, most fun because it'll kind of play into one of the other questions I skipped here. So,
Hey, that's a good shirt.
hey,
Yeah.
nice. I can't believe you put that over your singlet. You have to have so much nipple sweat going on right now wearing that singlet with no undershirt. Oh God.
Nah,
You,
dude, I've got two fans going right now, and it's
uh,
like
Yeah, me and Keith.
78. Yeah.
All
Heyo.
Heyo.
right, Gary, I got a really serious question for you here. Are you familiar with least fun, most fun?
I am. I tell you what is the least fun or the most fun about one thing.
Yeah, one or the
I can
other.
only choose one. Yeah, I only choose one or the other. I don't elaborate on either one. No, I got you. I tell
Good
you the
deal.
least fun and most fun thing about a given topic.
Perfect. So I hope this lands, because I don't have the answer to that question, but I'm gonna say this is gonna work out. So, Big Gary, least fun, most fun, living in California.
Least
Like,
fun
if you just want to
living in
lead, like,
California.
so sorry. So lead with, have you lived? Is California always been home, or is this a?
Yeah, yeah. I was
Okay,
born in
so that
California,
helps. That
and I've
helps.
only
That's
spent 3 years outside of California,
okay. So that
and I'm
helps.
40 years old, so
There's
spent a good amount of
three.
time in California.
I'll be 40 in a couple months, so basically three 40-year-olds here wearing the same fucking shirt and basically have the same haircut.
Whee!
uh,
So least fun, most fun living in California.
Least fun in California is like people losing their shit when it rains because we barely get weather here. And so anytime uh, you get less than an inch of rain, like people forget how to drive. And then all the small talk becomes like, oh, you see the rain? We really need it. Like just the most asinine stuff. Um,
But that's the Midwest. Like you become a dad and you go look outside and you, except for that rain that flooded my basement. Usually you go outside and you go, we needed this.
I'd rather, I honestly rather talk about weather with someone that I don't really want to talk to than anything else. Because like I don't
Yeah.
want to hear any personal story about you whatsoever. Let's just talk about the weather for 2 minutes and then carry on.
The weather is like guaranteed small talk.
Yeah.
that's what files the knurling off my barbell. I
Yeah.
hate small talk.
Oh, me too. But like, I'd rather it be rehearsed and right. Like it's called phatic gestures. I know I've said it on here before. Phatic gestures are those things that like we do to essentially lubricate social interactions.
You had my
And
lubrication.
yeah, I know. And and it is one of those like, how about the weather? It's the Letterkenny thing.
An icebreaker, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like how are you now? Good, and you? Not so bad. And that's the thing, right? Like, we do that every time just to get this going. And it's one of those like I'd rather do that than have somebody turn to me and be like, "Hey, how about that insert political thing?" And I'm just like, "I don't know you. I don't want to
How
talk to
about those
you. Get the fuck
tariffs?
yeah, like I don't want it." Oh, yeah. So I think I have a hatred of them and a small appreciation of them because like you're right.
It's
The weather
the
has been
least worst
terrible.
version of it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's like a first
yeah.
degree burn rather than a fourth degree. Like this
Yeah.
sucks, but it could suck more. All right, most fun.
Uh, Most fun is it allows me to not have a car. I can bike to work every day.
No, we got lots of bike questions for you, sir.
Nice.
Because you look like you ride a bike right now.
How far?
You right now with the headband and the glasses, like Family Guy is drawing you, I think, as the bike guy at some point. Like, hey, chat, does this guy ride a bike? And just it's unanimous yeses.
I forget his birth name, but his writing name was the Pirate. He was like a notorious like party boy cyclist who got popped not well for PEDs, but also for cocaine. He was banned from racing because he got cocaine in his system. But he's a pretty legendary guy, personality in professional cycling.
Nice.
I don't know if that was a non sequitur. Did you?
Pantani.
Oh, okay.
Pantani. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna add cocaine to unpaid and underrated, I guess.
Oh.
It's like I don't know why that came up, but okay.
Okay.
Mysterious white powder.
Yeah.
So we got a good bit of, crew. Well, I wouldn't, well, some crew, and then some of your buddies just use the Instagram rather than the questionnaire. So we can kind of get into some of these. Some of them can be quick hitters too. So, Big Burmy wanted to know how you like his new J Cups.
The J cups are very nice.
Nice.
The UH&W is very thick. It's like a very nice sandwich J cup. I use it for my bench setting, just because the design of the cradle, I can just hit the
It's a little
upright and
longer,
it
isn't it?
sinks. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
it
I
just
saw
sinks right
him.
into the
So they're
cradle.
like his regular OG ones, right? The ones that Tommy has.
Yeah, but mine are
Yeah.
like unfinished. They're like a raw.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, it stands out against the black of the road wrap and everything. Um,
Sweet.
Pretty pleased with that purchase. Would buy again. I plan to buy more stuff from him. It's just
Nice.
not right now because I just moved and everything.
No, yeah, I feel that. There's so many things about biking. I don't even know if like they all kind of
Yeah,
segue into each other.
I'm gonna
I
move some
wouldn't.
of them to unpaid and underrated. So just
Yeah, I'm not
like
gonna ask anything about bikes.
watch as I click them off.
Um,
I want to know, and this is obviously geared towards my interests a little bit. What is the story with you and Typo Negative?
I used to listen to them.
Like from soup to nuts. Like you want to know how I got into the band or just how I met them?
So Shables, SHSCHBLES says, ask him
Yeah.
about. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, ask him about the interactions with Typo Negative.
Okay. So I've seen them or saw them in concert twice, and the first venue was the Palladium in Los Angeles, and the second one was the Hollywood House of Blues. And I've been to both those venues several times. And Hollywood House of Blues, where it is, the tour buses have to park on the street. So your probability of meeting the band is very high at that venue if you have the patience to wait after the show. Um, and so I just hung out after the show and waited to meet the band. I think Josh was the first one out of the back. Got a picture with him, and then there was like a former Marine and his little brother that I just was talking with while we were waiting, and he like photobombed the photo. So it's just me and this total stranger with Josh. Is something I have from that night, and then I think it was Johnny came out next, and he had like this girl wrapped around his arms. Um, and I kept waiting for Kenny. I didn't see Kenny, so I don't know when or where he left the building from. But Peter came out like at 3 a.m. This was like hours after everyone else, and he like the crowd side is diminished considerably. It was probably like 8 of us at this point. There was a couple who actually flew from Australia for the show. They were there, and then there was this girl who had like a C4 Corvette, and she wanted to show it to Peter. And she like popped the hood so you could check out the car and stuff. He's like, "Oh, the internal combustion engine. That's the way of the future." Um,
That's such a yeah. Okay, I like it.
yeah, and we're just hanging out. Everyone's getting pictures of him, and then like all the girls are obviously sitting on his lap taking photo or for their photo. And so I do the same thing. And I was fat at the time, like I was 100 pounds heavier, and he just grabs me by the jowls and he's like, "This is a face only a mother could love."
And only Peter could say that to you, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, all right. Thank you, 7 foot monster. Like that's
Yeah. And I had this 84 Olympics CCCP, like the Soviet USSR Adidas branded shirt that I wore to the show just because of all the like iconography and stuff being Soviet Union era propaganda and stuff. And I had the three members of the band signed it, and I took it home, and I was still living at home at the time. I think I was like
Your mom washed it, didn't
not. Yes, she watched it.
Ah.
Well, no, actually, do you one better. I don't know that she watched it. I don't have confirmation that she watched it. She threw it away
she? Oh,
because of the Red Scare. She didn't like the communist imagery of it
Mm.
and threw it out. She didn't want any communist crap in her house and got rid of the shirt. And that's a huge regret. So all I have are the photos from that night, and it's not even like the master photos. It's like the photos of a photo because it's the stuff I uploaded to like Photo Bucket for MySpace, and so like the resolution is really low and can't get like good quality prints off of them or anything.
We're gonna need that picture of you and Peter.
Okay, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
send that over.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be sent to me or Keith
Sure thing.
because that's dope.
Um,
But I've never met Peter Steele.
Yeah, that was
I've
that was cool. That was
I've
definitely
unfortunately
like
seen
one of
him
the.
naked, but I have never met him.
I've seen the Playgirl spread too. If
Right
you
now,
search
Keith is
typo negative,
no,
Keith
I
is
vaguely,
so
I do remember.
confused.
No, I
Okay.
remember. So like, I had a bunch of their songs downloaded off fucking like Kazaa Lite or whatever the fuck or LimeWire like
Yeah.
30 years ago, but I couldn't probably name. I don't think I've had a. They're definitely not in a playlist I listen to currently, but I do remember there being like a swinging dick thing when he was modeling or whatever. But
A swinging dick thing.
yeah.
The dude was a king can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But if you go on Etsy and just search typo negative or Peter Steele, all the stuff is just like repurposed Playgirl images that
Yeah.
hang like on a candle. Like, just like chill out, ladies. Or if you're gonna take the I like Goyles perspective, dudes that were hitting them up after the fact.
Yeah.
So this might be the first time Big Matt's submitted a question that was podcast worthy here. So it was actually a pretty good one. So Gary, how many story likes do you think you've done on your time on IG?
Oh man, I don't know. If there's a way to tabulate that, like I would like to publish that. But I do spam the like button. I
Do you have
that's my thing.
notifications on?
I do not.
That's wild
I'm
because
just
you're always the
I'm
first.
yeah, I'm just terminally online. I have nothing else going in my life. Like so if like provided I'm not with a patient at work or something, I have Instagram open and I'm just like refreshing, doom scrolling, like just trying to
What
fill the void in my life.
what does the story have to be to not get a like? Because like I think
uh
you like a solid three-quarters of stuff I think I've not ever. I don't know. I'd have to now. Do you like everything I post? I don't remember, but like what instinctively makes you lift your thumb up and let it just expire and then not like it or swipe right?
usually like it's going to be like a poor connectivity thing because I've been getting an error a lot where it's like link could not or like could not be sent or whatever because of connection issues. But the stuff I intentionally do not like, and I'll just skip the story, are kind of the things I like about Massonomics. It's just like it's a safe space. There's nothing like too real going on.
Yep.
And so if it's a story that kind of like bursts my bubble a little bit, like that's not getting a like
Gotcha.
because this is my escape. Like
Yeah. I think that was one of the most successful memes I ever posted on Instagram, where it was the happy Spider-Man Peter Parker, right? And it was like, oh,
yeah,
a lifting account. And then it goes to the sad Peter Parker, and it's like fucking political opinions. I was just like,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, you're pretty strong. Hey, I met you at the last lifting thing. And then they're just like, and by the way, and you're like, damn it. That's not why I'm here. What the hell is Team Eggplant?
so it's been 20. March of 21. This is the whole reason I'm on Instagram is
For the
I was
eggplants?
part of this mentorship. Yeah, for the eggplant, for the likes in the eggplant. Uh, I joined this mentorship, and the team I was part of um, for said mentorship elected to use Instagram as the means of communicating to each other. And so we, that mentorship, we had to come up with like individual SMART goals and execute them and also like critique each other. And then it was kind of like a debate team, whereas like, I'm going to do this. And then Keith or Joey would come along and say, "Hey, you're not going to accomplish that goal because of X, Y, and Z." And you have to retort like, "Oh, no, I will do it. And these are the things I've thought out and why I'll be able to be a success at this given thing." Um, and funnily enough, like after the fact, like 2 years later, I asked all the guys on Team Eggplant and also from the entire like mentorship, I was like, "So did you guys accomplish all your goals you set out to do? Because I accomplished nothing." And they're like, "Yeah, we all did it." And it was like, "Oh, so I'm just a huge piece of shit then."
Oh, SMART goals. God, you brought me back to work.
Yeah.
Strategic,
Uh,
measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive, right? That's what SMART is.
yeah. Measurable, actionable, or attainable. Yeah.
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 Gah.
And
I hate that I
speaking of
know that off
work,
the top of my
Uh,
head.
is there anything you want to tell the listeners of what you do for a living? Anything you want to share on that? As little
I
or as much
am
as you want.
a physical therapist assistant. I've been one for the past 4 years. Currently, I work in pediatrics and then also do PRN or on call kind of work for a skilled nursing facility. Previously, I worked outpatient orthopedics and vestibular. Um,
Well, how's that? So physical, I know it. I've gone to physical therapy. Like I've gone to like, your local place and got like your ankle, your knee worked on and just did they're taking way too many clients and they just bounce around to the fact that you said pediatric. I've never seen a kid there. Pediatric, I guess you could elaborate on what do you mean by pediatric physical therapy? That's a new concept to me.
it's just a subspecialty within the profession. It's just any patient, and at least in the state of California, under the age of 18.
Oh, okay,
So
okay, okay. I
birth to
gotcha.
18. Yeah.
So
Okay,
when my daughter broke her arm
I gotcha.
and they removed
Mhm.
the cast, they said if you don't see regular movement after 30 days, we're gonna have to put her into PT. And that would be where probably pediatric physical therapy would
Gotcha.
come
I
into
guess when I
play.
think of pediatric, I just
Yeah.
was thinking like 5-year-olds, not like okay,
Well,
anyone
it
of
depends
minor,
on it
anyone of
depends on the
No.
minor. It
state,
makes
Yeah.
but
sense.
yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
more sense
I
now.
I
I
do
got you.
see 5-year-olds. I mean that.
Well, yeah,
So
I guess I meant
okay.
like only. I got you. That was my
No,
misinterpretation.
only 9 and under. Like, no,
Yeah, I
I'm
was just
making
like
this.
I was just confused on that one. Yep. No, that tracks. Are any uh plans on going back to school to be full blown, or pretty happy with like where you're at with that? Like as far as like getting
Uh,
into like.
no, because they're two like distinct jobs.
Hmm.
And to go back to school would basically be starting over.
Gotcha.
Um, and then at the end of the day, like your job responsibilities are pretty much the same. Like as far as treating patients, that's going to be unchanged. But as a PT, you're going to do like the differential diagnosis and establish like the plan of care, evals and the re-evals, progress notes, discharge. Like it's just a lot more paperwork,
Hmm.
and it's like 100 grand to start, like to go to a PT program, like a DPT school. Um, the optics, like the financial side of it, just don't make sense because as a
Gotcha.
PTA, you make like 2/3 of the DPT salary. And so, like what I'm doing, where I do personal training on the side and also pick up shifts, like you can compensate for the pay disparity between the two.
Makes sense.
Let's
So,
I was reviewing this earlier and now it's kind of jumping out at me. Um your lifting history. So
Uh,
I'm going through this and there's a lot of names in here and some of them look like names I'm supposed to know. So you've trained under some pretty important people.
uh, I'd like to think so. I mean, that's kind of. I've just been fortunate. So I've been lifting about 20 years now because I started lifting shortly after my weight loss journey. But it wasn't until probably 2015, maybe. So maybe like 10 years ago, uh, I met um, my ex, and she was really into CrossFit at the time. And I was just starting out as a personal trainer. I was like, I don't know my head from my ass as far as Olympic weightlifting. And where we were living at the time, a beautiful, beautiful place in the state of California called Bakersfield, um, was like 2 hours by car from LA. And Sean Waxman, who was a sort of like positioned himself as like the weightlifting authority on the West Coast, was there in Lawndale. And so for a good quarter of a year, that was our Saturday. We would get up early, drive to Lawndale, train at his gym, and then drive back to Bakersfield, um, and just do Olympic weightlifting. And then we moved to the Bay Area, and then had the opportunity to train with Jim Schmitz, who was a Team USA coach and also like Team USA referee. Just like he is like kind of the mayor of Olympic weightlifting for the US. Like he's been in the sport for uh, probably like 60 years, I would say. Um, and I had the pleasure of training with him for probably about a year while we lived in the greater San Francisco area. Um, and when I was in college, I that's when I first met Jim. Actually, was at a so the brand Caffeine and Kilos, who did the Cool Beans coffee collab with Massonomics. They had a kind of like paying your dues sort of Olympic weightlifting meet they did in Sacramento, and they call it the Tommy Kono Classic. And so I think it was the first or second year I went to that, and I was a loader at that event as a volunteer. But another part of that, because Tommy was living in Hawaii at the time, so he would fly over to Sacramento or to California and have some downtime. And so the first day of his trip, he would do like a speaking engagement. And so I went to that, and that's where I met Jim the first time. And he was just like, "Well, if you're ever in San Francisco, look me up, blah, blah, you come train at my gym." And so circled back and hooked up with him and started lifting with him. Um, and also while we're in the Bay Area, because Jim's in South San Francisco, and then we were living more on the south side of the Bay Area, closer really to San Jose. And so Dan Green, Boss Barbell, is in Mountain View, and so that was a much easier drive. And so we kind of split our time between those two gyms. Like we go to gyms on Saturday when I got off of work, and then during the week we'd be at Boss Barbell because I was working at a 24-hour fitness at the time and just wanted like separate space. Like I that's a sort of a big thing with me is I like things in boxes. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm gonna work at the gym, that's just work. I don't want to work
Mhm.
out there too.
No, that makes sense for
Uh,
sure.
uh, and so that's kind of where Boss Barbell comes in.
Fun story. I know two of the people you named. So like hey, either I'm learning or those are really big names.
I would say they're probably big names.
I'll never know.
Oh, and yeah. Another one was when I was in college. I went to UC Davis, which and Davis, California is like 12 miles west of Sacramento. Uh, I trained at Midtown Barbell Club, is what it was called at the time, but it had like this own back room, and that back room was super training at the time. It had like two dedicated competition benches, two monos, and then like a rogue monster rack. And I would see like Jim McD and Mark
Good guy.
Bell from time to time. but Silent Mike had like this powerlifting club that he was trying to start there that met uh, Monday, Wednesday nights. And so I would bike from Davis to Sacramento to train with Silent Mike because I thought that was the fast track to powerlifting success. And then I'd go there Friday nights to do my squats with Ben Claridad, who was like one of the lead weightlifting coaches there at the time. And he's since transitioned to more like strongman training and competed at the Rainier Classic last year.
We
If
like
you're familiar
strongman.
with him at all.
I know the
Yeah.
name Silent Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was, but the only one that stuck out to me. Well, I know Dan Green, but I don't know anybody else you mentioned.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see.
Yeah, I'll let you have one here because there's one that stands out to me that I'm suddenly very offended by.
Offended.
Nice.
So just the color orange. I mean, is that a newfound love because you're trying to impersonate me, or are you an OG color of orange fan?
No, I'm just trying to cosplay as you for Halloween this year.
That works.
Perfect.
No, it was
Let's hear your orange origin story.
probably
Your origin story?
Ah, well done. I'm mad that I didn't say that.
Agent Orange. It didn't start with orange, but it ended at orange. I'll leave it like so. Uh, my first like big podcast I would listen to was the Adam Carolla show when he left terrestrial radio and started podcasting. And he had this like big rant about how like everything is like black, like car interiors are dark, and then like you have your cell phone in a black like case, and then if you drop it or your wallet even, it falls down between the seat. You can't see it because it's black on black. And so his thing was like you spray paint your wallet or whatever, like or put some sort of like highly visible color on it to where it's easier to find if you lose stuff, if you're prone to losing stuff. Because that was me in my mid 20s. Like I was prone to losing car keys and wallet, phone, and everything. And so like that really appealed to me. And so I got like a hot pink wallet because I needed and it also had like this secondary feature. It was like it would have been good for your sandbag, Joey, because it was to keep moisture out. It was for like cycling to keep in your bib pocket. It was like a clamshell, like hard plastic thing that you could just fit a couple cards and an ID in, and it wouldn't get all like soggy with sweat. But that was like hot pink because they were only available in neon colors, and like the neon yellow was sold out or something. And that being sold out was what played into orange because when I traveled, I think it was like when I lived in the Bay Area the first time and was going home to visit my family, I needed a suitcase for my luggage. And I went to the luggage store and they had like a flame orange Samsonite, like hard shell suitcase. And it was just off in the corner discounted because they couldn't move that color. It was like half price. And I was like, all right, that's the one for me. Like super cheap, orange. I get it. It's ugly. No one wants to buy it. I'll take it. And that was kind of where the orange thing started. And the same like consumer psychology thing at play there also worked with my second road bike was orange because I knew that was an unpopular color. So I just waited and shopped around until I could find an orange one. I got a super cheap secondhand frame for like 150 or $200 or something like that, just because it had orange on it, and that's not a color people traditionally like. And so I've since converted to the color orange.
Nice, I dig it.
Music to your ears, is it?
Ooh.
So
all of my
yes.
apps just updated. No, actually, yeah, I'll give you two that I saw there and memorized. Have you heard my story about meeting Vinnie Paul?
I no, I have not.
Okay, so we were at a concert. It was the Rockstar something something, right? Remember when Rockstar Energy mattered?
Yeah.
And I think Avenged Sevenfold were the headliners, or Stone Sour, one of those two, right? But Hell Yeah were the headliners on the second stage.
Okay.
And when we heard who the headliner was on the main stage, me and my friend Dave were like, well, what if we just sat in the Jägermeister tent all night and didn't watch that crap? So we sat in that Jägermeister tent the entire time, hung out with the Jäger girls and all the people that were there, and in walks Vinnie Paul. So I got to do a shot of Jäger with Vinnie Paul. It was probably my 20th shot of the day. Showed him my Black Label Society tattoo. Like, had a full time with him. Here you have a similar one.
Yeah, same venue as Typo Negative. It was at the Hollywood House of Blues, and just waited everyone out and got to meet the band. It was when they were with Damage Plan, and so I met Pat Lackman and Bob Zilla, and I had a Dime 332 by Washburn, so it was like a short scale version of his guitar.
Mhm.
Black body. And I had all of the guys sign it with a silver Sharpie. And then like so I had them sign it, and then it just went kind of dead. Like it was another thing where we were just standing around waiting for 3 hours. And then the head of security comes around and he's like, guys, you're wasting your time. They're not coming. They're already gone. They're at the Rainbow Room, which is a big bar in LA. That's the bar that Lemmy hung out at.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not coming back here till the sun comes up. Like, you're good luck trying to meet them. And then like he's shooing them off, and then he comes over to me because he sees I have the guitar, and he's like, just wait, they're on the way. Like, and so they're fucking hammered when they get there.
Mm-hmm.
But Dime's just like, hell yeah, like signs the thing, and Vinny signs it too. And then that's kind of the end of the exchange. I don't have any like memorable like exchanges with them. The funny thing is that guitar, it's kind of the John Hancock effect, because Pat and Bob Zilla were the first ones to sign it, so their signature's all huge, and then Vinny and Dime are super small on it. But when I left Anchorage, I sold that guitar on Facebook Marketplace, full circle here. I just posted it up because I wanted to move it. I posted it for like 100 or 150, and a dude like responded maybe less than 5 minutes. It's just like, are you serious? Like, you're letting this go for that much? It's like, yeah, I need to move it. And he's like, I'll be there. Where's your address? Like, and then he showed up, picked it up, and that was it. And he's like, I can't believe you're getting rid of this. It's like, yeah, but I can't really hold on to it anymore. Yeah. It's like,
it's too cumbersome to move.
Yeah, and then it's like I can't have a shrine to Dimebag in my family home. Like, my wife does not like metal music. Like, my kid isn't into this. Like, it's only like cool for me, and so it's just gonna sit in the closet either way. So it's better you take it.
Yep.
But the head of security guy, he was another guy that died in Columbus when he was murdered that night.
Damn.
I forgot his name, unfortunately, but yeah, that because when they posted the news story and they posted the faces, that's kind of when it went home. It was like, oh man, I knew that guy too, or I met him anyway. It was like, shit, super heavy.
Damn.
Yeah.
But this game I like to play.
Yeah. Well, I'm not there yet. I have one more thing. It's interesting because sometimes we ask your friends and stuff for things you hate. And one of them says, I honestly can't think of one thing Brad actually hates. With an emoji. They submitted an emoji, which I think is the first I've seen in all of these.
I'd like to know who did that.
But the one directly above it says you hate the movie Sucker Punch. What the fuck?
Such a bad movie.
Because like I remember
Keith on this.
I kind of liked that movie, but the soundtrack was more important than the movie. But like, of all the movies in the world, that's the one that this person was just like, oh, he hates this.
No, I think it's just I'm a very like binary person, so I don't have a lot of nuance. I couldn't have like a Gary search, a Gary Glaze or something.
Gary Glaze.
Like it's either love or hate with me. I'm kind of like Cold Stove Creamery that way. But I think where it fell, like because Zack Snyder did the remake of Dawn of the Dead, and that was just like fantastic. That was a phenomenal movie. No revisions needed. Like that was 10 out of 10 for Gary. And I think the next Zack Snyder film was Sucker Punch, and the trailers made it look really good. And like you're saying, the soundtrack was pretty solid too. And go to see it, and the movie is just like a mess. And
I couldn't
I
tell you
forget.
more than two things. I know John Hamm
Yeah,
was there, and but like, yeah, I can't think of a movie that was so insignificant other than the soundtrack that if somebody was
yeah.
like, "What'd you think
I
of that?"
really couldn't.
I'd be like, "Oh, I thought about it. Like it was okay to watch. I think I owned it on Blu-ray." But like just for somebody to put it in here that like he fucking hated that movie.
Well, so this is like early 20s timeline. Like the one of the friends, whoever submitted that, like they would just like get hammered and I'd be the designated driver kind of thing.
Mm.
And when they got rowdy, they like the powerlifting like played out songs, like that was their playlist. Like it was Drowning Pool Bodies
Uh-huh.
and like Evanescence Bring Me to Life.
I hate that song.
Uh, a lot of Hate Breed,
Yeah, just
just a
talking about
lot
my
of
my
like,
lifting playlist. That's all that is.
Every time Evanescence comes on, I'll just turn to Morgan and go, "Ah," and she's like, "I hate you so much." And I was like, "That's her voice. Like she's this operatic singing is. I'm so over it. That's why I dislike so. That's why I can't stand Kill Switch Engage. It's why, and I love their cover of Holy Diver, and like I like songs, but that operatic, how does and like no, that's the most annoying thing in metal. We need to get over that. Opeth, I think, does it still. Cradle of Filth is still, for some reason, clinging to it a bit as well. Anyway, my rant is over. Back to your story. you brought up you
it
brought
was
up
just,
Evanescence and it triggered me.
yeah, it was just like they'd get drunk and rowdy and they knew how to push my buttons. And it
Mm.
was just like, oh, Sucker Punch was such a good movie. It's like, it was not. Like,
Oh, okay.
That's funny.
All right. I was gonna say, like, yeah, that was just one of those ones where it's like, how is that the movie he hates?
yeah, I totally forgot about that movie until you brought it up, honestly. Like, I know we saw it in theaters, but I couldn't elaborate on it. I know, like, there was it's like a psych ward kind of thing. And then they do, it's not trephination, but where they
Lobotomy.
hammer lobotomy. Yeah. No, it was,
Well, the end of it was the lobotomy, but the entire trip was
yeah,
just her
yeah,
kind of escaping the reality. Again, like the
right.
movie does not, other than the effects and the soundtrack, doesn't stand out as it's not as good as There Will Be Blood. Like there's no storyline there to track. Yeah, yeah, I did that to you, Keith. Um,
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I
Enough
think
about
that
this
was
fucking
probably,
movie. Jesus Christ. Gary,
I'll,
tell me about losing 100 pounds,
I'll be
bud.
back in a
That's really
second.
impressive. You're not the first. I think a handful of crew have lost about that much weight or somewhere in that realm. So that's an applaudable amount of weight. You said it was about 20 years ago. So give me a couple minutes of
yeah.
that.
Um, so like, I don't know if you had this experience with high school PE, but like that kind of helped me maintain my weight and I gained weight over the summer. And so every year I'd come back a little bit fatter and then maintain.
Hmm.
And then it just keep repeating over those 4 years. And then once I graduated high school, I just kept getting fatter and fatter. And it was like, this has to stop. Um, and I would try what little I knew of fitness. Like my thing would be go to like the middle school I went to and use their track and try and run because it was like, oh, running will help me lose weight. And I just get like discouraged by the lack of progress.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, the secret to losing weight is getting in a car accident
Jesus.
to where you don't have any other means of transportation and you have to rely on yourself.
Okay. Okay. So you
Yeah.
weren't overly. So it was more that
Yeah,
you didn't have a car more than you were injured. Okay.
Yeah. I was fine. No one was injured
Okay,
in the
that
car
was I was
accident.
like
Yeah.
I was like
No bodily
was he
harm.
was
No
he
bodily
fucking
harm.
in a was he in fucking was he bedridden and in a feeding tube and all they gave him was a little bit of fucking protein and like some protein fucking applesauce or some shit like okay, cool. So you
No.
had no means of transportation other than walking or biking, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was the first time I was living in Northern California. So I would well, the first like 2 weeks, I would walk to the Caltrain station and take the Caltrain from Mountain View to Foster City, and then walk to Sony, where I was working at the time, and then repeat the thing at the end of my shift. And after like 2 weeks, I used that check to buy a bike. And rather than like because I didn't know anything about bikes at the time. It was just like you pedal it and it'll get you somewhere. Like the extent you know as riding as a kid. And so I just bought a BMX. Had I had known anything else, I should have gotten like a commuter bike, a touring bike, or a road bike, something way more practical. But for like the rest of that year, I was riding a BMX to the Caltrain station and then Caltrain to work, Caltrain to home, or the station to home, and also doing like minor errands like to the post office or groceries and stuff like that. And then I was big on like a car forum at the time, and I knew I was going to be leaving the Bay Area, and like there was this big like NorCal SoCal divide in that car forum, and like, oh, there's no way you can live on a bike in Southern California. And I was like, well, let's see about that. And
Hope and bear
so
in
I
mind.
made it my mission to like try and do as much as I could on a bike in Southern California. Um, and I I did buy like a replacement car for the car that I totaled,
Hmm.
but I tried to use the bike as much as possible. I think the initial thing was like trips under 10 miles or something. I would elect a bike, and if it was above that, I would drive the car. And then like I went kind of crazy with the weight loss thing because I was motivated by the progress I was seeing. They're just like, okay, let's just rely on the bike. And so like I think it became like 20 miles. Like if I wasn't leaving the town I was living at, which was Temecula, like I would drive. But as much as I could, I would ride my bike. Um,
Makes sense.
and that took me from like 270-ish to I want to say like 225, maybe 225, something like that, when I moved back to Southern California. And I knew like my lifestyle was going to change because I was moving back to my family home. And my mom's thing is like baking and then making you feel guilty about not eating her food.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, I need to have like some reinforcements here. And so I got a gym membership, and that gym membership came with like, I don't know, 5 free personal training things or something like that. And so I did that. And uh, in doing what little like resistance training I was doing at the time, it was just like I I kind of doubled down on the cardio because of like psychological reasons. Because like my growing up, my dad would leave work and then go to the gym for like 2 hours and then come back, and I like that was a pain point for my mom. Like she would always like kind of make fun of him for going to the gym. And so I didn't want to have that like toxic thing, like living in her house, like going to the gym for 2 hours kind of thing. And so, triathlon is not very time intensive. So I just started running, swimming, and cycling for like 6 hours a day. No
Jesus.
problem there. But yeah, I just super calorie deficient. Pretty much eating like oatmeal in the morning and chicken breast lunch and dinner, and then swimming in the morning, and then depending on the day, either running or cycling after that, and then going to classes. And got down to like 160 at my lowest, which was like my goal weight, and I thought I looked amazing there when I got there, but I just looked like a fucking twig. Like I had no definition or anything.
I was
I
gonna
just
say,
had like flabby skin.
did you look skinny fat?
Yeah.
It's never fun. Good deal.
I just look like a melted candle. Like, um,
Should we move into
Well,
FMK, do you think?
I don't really. I have a Mount Rushmore I could maybe do, but I have nothing for FMK that I really want to do. I'm gonna hit you with a. We can do a couple of Mount Rushmores. If this one doesn't land, then we'll just skip it. Well, actually, I'll prelude it to. As a big biker guy, have you gone back and like consumed a bunch of bicycling movies or anything from that you might have missed in your youth? Have you like gone out of your way to like watch movies about bicycling?
no, I really
Okay,
haven't.
then I don't have an FMK. Then
Um,
I don't have a Mount Rushmore.
I
So
don't think
mine
I
is
could
gonna be.
name a single bicycling movie.
There's a handful. Like some of them
yeah,
are
there's
like
a
from the
few out there.
80s. But if there's so my
Yeah,
it was gonna be your Mount Rushmore of movies about bicycling or bikes, but if you don't have one, then it's kind of
I
moot.
will say like the number one movie about bicycling, which is
There you go.
also like the inspiration for my gym name, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yep,
Okay.
that's a good call. I think the movie It had a lot of bicycling in it.
I mean, well, there was Breaking Away. There was a Kevin Costner movie. I think it was called Breaking Away, and there was another one that was fucking. There was like a town.
There's one in the '90s about bike messengers with
Oh, that one was
Kevin
great.
Bacon.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, I
there was
remember that one.
another one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt where he was a
Yep,
bike courier.
that was more recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There was Rad. I mean, there was enough to do a Mount Rushmore bike movies, but if you didn't like have them in your head or had a list, it probably wouldn't have
Yeah,
landed.
I'm not that
So
current. Like
no,
I have
you're
a
good.
huge like popular culture dead spot. Like
Okay. I'll
that I think that's probably where the sucker punch thing was coming from. Because like in high
mm,
school, I was like big cinema guy. Like I had the I made it a big like point to buy like the Criterion collection DVDs and stuff. Um and like the more artsy films and stuff like that. And then Sucker Punch is definitely like the antithesis of that. And so I think that's why I raged against that movie so hard.
all right. Well, since that didn't land, I'm gonna ask one question, then we can Joey can do his Rushmore, and we can probably
I'm gonna do an
hop in.
FMK and a Rushmore.
There you go. So I want to hear some poop stories, or at least one, because there was like 10 submitted that were all kind of like not overly detailed. But do you have a good poop story or a plethora of
Ooh.
what do you have for
I
you?
have several poop stories, like
Give
nothing
me.
like Nate where I poop myself,
I don't think anyone
but
has a Nate
there's
story.
um
Tell me
so
I you can tell the however you want to do it. I want the funniest one. I want it to be funny. I guess whatever you can hit us with some for amusement. What do you think you
so
got?
I think like the funniest one, there's actually two funny
There you
ones,
go.
but
That's
so in this would probably be like eighth grade because because of my parents' divorce, I would spend my summer break from school with my dad. And his whole thing was just like, here's like $5 a day to cover any like expenses or whatever. And I would just spend the day with my friends while he was at work. And then I just had to be home for dinner was kind of his thing. And then I was free to do whatever I wanted again. And this was around like the time that group of friends was discovering drinking. And so I went over to his house because his mom worked corrections. And so she wasn't home at nights. And so that was the place everyone went to do naughty things or whatever. And it's like 10 o'clock at night and we're getting hungry and we don't have enough to like order pizza or whatever. And we all decide the smart move is to walk to the 7-Eleven. And that's probably like a mile from his house or whatever. We walk there as a group. It's after curfew. So our big thing is like watching out for cops. We get to the 7-Eleven, everyone gets their snacks. In my infinite wisdom, I bought a roller hot dog, chili cheese, like roller hot dog. We're I've consumed, so that's what,
hmm.
three now. The dog in question, and we're maybe like a quarter of the way into the return trip, and stomach's already bubbling. Like this was a mistake, and I'm coming to terms with that mistake. And like we get back to the friend's house and everyone's kind of like, yeah, I guess we'll call it here because it's kind of like we're dying off at this point because it's probably like close to 11 or 11:30 or something. And so I'm walking to my dad's house from his house, which is like 2 blocks. And I know like there's something knocking. I've got to get to a toilet soon. and I'm kind of picking up the pace, like walking a little bit faster, and that's feeding into the anxiety. Like I need to shit, like really bad. And the lock on the front door to his house was the kind where it like compresses and you twist it to lock
Mhm.
it. And when you put the key in, sometimes it would get stuck in between that state where it wasn't fully unlocked. And so I'm wrestling with the door and freaking out that I'm not going to be able to get inside. And it's like I have to surrender at this point. So I just dropped trout in the like entryway to the house, and there's like flower bed on both sides, and then sidewalk going up the center to the door, and just like shotgun blast the side of the house and the flower bed, just orange yellow like diarrhea everywhere.
Oh,
And
that's
then
disgusting.
like pull my pants up with the ass exposed, like the front's covered, finish unlocking the door, go to the bathroom that's like off the entryway, clean up, and then just like, wash my hands, brush my teeth, get ready for bed, go to bed.
You
Don't
left
even
it.
think about trying to clean it. Like there's no cleaning this.
That's worse than the leaving it on the counter.
It's so bad.
And
Did you put a note
next,
on it at least, Gary?
no, there's no note. There's no
You
note. And
didn't
so
pull the Nate special for the note.
no, the next, like it had to be like a weekend. So maybe this was a Friday or a Saturday night because my dad's girlfriend was over
Blame it
and
on
they
her.
get
There
up
you
and decide to garden. They go
Oh,
out there and they've already been out there for a while when I get up and go out there. And they're like, you wouldn't believe what happened out here. A dog like
go.
destroyed our flower bed. Like the dog must have got into something or ate something poisonous or something. The dog had a rough time and just like shit everywhere. So he to my knowledge, he doesn't know that it was me unless he's
Oh,
just like totally like brushed it under the rug all this time.
that's
Uh,
that's a pretty good one.
we're gonna
That's a
become the
good.
poop story podcast.
Well, I didn't. That was a long build up for like I didn't. But yeah, no, I enjoyed that. That made me chuckle.
All right.
I guess the quick finish would be like maybe 8 years ago when I first started dating my ex. We went to Thai food, and they typically ask you like how hot do you want it on a scale of 1 to 5 or whatever. I don't even remember what we ordered, maybe like a 2 or 3 or something, somewhere like middling. And it came out way too hot for either one of us, but proceeded to eat it because like you gotta eat what you paid for kind of thing. Can't just throw away good food. And we're picking away at it, and there's still plenty of leftovers when we're done, which is kind of unusual for us. And so I have it at the end of the night, and she's like, "You go ahead and take it because I'm not going to eat it." And so I get up the next morning and I eat it for breakfast, and then proceed to go to work, which was when I was in college. So I was doing door to door flyering. And on the way into town, I stopped and get a coffee. And so I already got like the flame gut from the hot Thai food. And then I add like coffee on top of it, and it's go time. The coffee shop doesn't have bathrooms like for customers, which is like, why would you
Weird.
do that in a coffee shop? Yeah.
That's weird.
And so I drive like a mile, would that be south from that coffee shop to Trader Joe's because I know they have like public bathrooms. And I go inside the men's restroom. There's only one stall. It's like two or three urinals in one stall. And I'm waiting like for this dude, and he's not taking
Yeah, he's
like
reading the
he's not.
paper.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. And so I'm getting impatient because it's the same thing as the flower red one. Like it's coming out, like it's gonna be nasty. And so I make the executive decision to go in the women's restroom because there's two stalls in there. I find out, just rush beeline into that first stall and just torrents of hot Thai food coming out, just in the women's restroom, and I have to wait until the restroom's empty to come out as a man using the women's restroom, and then just like quickly escape the Trader Joe's without being seen.
Oh, we used to be a proper country.
But yeah, poop stories are my thing. I have a lot of poop stories,
All right.
unfortunately.
We'll probably cut it those.
Yeah.
Okay. I have an FMK. This is going to throw you for a bit of a loop.
All right.
Um, FMK, Norm MacDonald, David Allen Greer, or Frank Zappa.
I think it would have to be Mary Zappa because like there's so much range there of material, and then F Norm and unfortunately kill Dag because Dag was like he was a get like he was a good guest for podcasts and radio shows. And I mean, I like his comedy too, but I like him more as like a third chair kind of person. So I think that would be the pecking order on that FMK, unfortunately. That's
I
a tough one.
I don't disagree. David Allen Greer, famous for his role in Jumanji. Uh, I got myself with that one, actually. All right. Mount Rushmore. Tool songs. I talk about nerds a fucking lot. I'm a Tool nerd. I don't like advertise it, but like, yeah.
Because they're so pretentious. But yeah, I get it.
The
Your
only thing
philosophy.
worse than the only thing worse than listening to Tool is other Tool fans.
uh,
Oh, and I'd love to hear why. Because yeah, let's nerd this Tool thing out. And the alien face is welcome. Which
okay,
is
let's
is
go.
actually really yeah.
Like yeah, it's on brand. If we're gonna go the alien face, let's give the alien face to Rosetta Stone. So at least it's like
Yeah,
applicable.
yeah, that's on brand.
Uh, so let's go Numa
Really?
right into um Lateralis, and I'll go H instead of 46 and 2. I'll go H. Because I think actually like chronologically like 46 and 2 I think is my George Washington. I think that's the one that got me into them. But I think like of the other songs I was picking, they're all more like the philosophical kind of songs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I went with H.
I do
And
find it a bit interesting that they're all except for H, the later album. Where like personally I would go I think 10,000 Days is their best album. I think Lateralis is like 1 point off because Lateralis has Schism. Schism I think is pure
Schism
poetry
is so
back to
fucked out.
front.
Like
Yeah, like it's easily one of the greatest songs ever
oh no, I'm
written,
saying
in
the
my
opposite.
opinion.
Like it's so overplayed I can't listen to it anymore. Like
Yeah, so I don't have that because I don't listen to the radio or anything like that. So I listen to like, the lyrics and things like that. I think Schism, if you
yeah.
really focus on the lyrics, I just think, and even like the triplets on the bass, like that shit's wild. But yeah, they were all later songs. You didn't go with anything off of Opiate or Undertow.
Uh I just think like sonically they changed a lot.
Yeah,
Um
once they got the new
with
bassist.
yeah, once Justin came in and Paul left. Like I actually prefer Paul on bass. He's a
Mhm.
lot more present in the mix and like I like the punchiness of his tone. 10,000 Days is actually an album that took me a long time to get into. Like I didn't like it when it first came out, and it probably wasn't until like um the excitement over Fear Inoculum that I got into 10,000 Days. And
Mhm. Mhm.
in the like post nut clarity of Fear Inoculum, it was like 10,000 Days is a way better album than Fear
Yes.
Inoculum. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I retconned and was like, okay, this isn't so bad. Because what got me with 10,000 Days initially is a lot of the rhythm stuff had the same pattern where it sounded like an offloaded drying machine where it's like
Okay,
like that.
yeah.
That was just annoying because there's like three songs that had that. But like the what would be considered the singles off of 10,000 Days are all super solid. Like Zombie, The Pot, Vicarious, those are all killer songs in their own right. And then like being uh older, air quotes, 10,000 Days, like the part one, part two, mean a lot more to me now. Like
Yep.
having someone in your life that gives you unconditional positive regard and no longer having them in your life, like that is a lot more personally significant or meaningful to me. Like
Hmm.
I think I matured into that album is all that happened. Because when 10,000 Days dropped, I was peak like extreme metalhead, and it's like, oh, this is stupid. Like, where are the blast beats kind of thing. I still appreciated like more artful metal or prog metal, whatever you want to call it. But it just didn't like check the box for me because Anima was my introduction to the band. Like I heard
Anima.
Sober growing up on the radio, but I wasn't aware Tool was the band that was playing this until I bought Anima. And then I went to the record release for Lateralis. So that one has like a special place in my heart. And also like the Alex Gray art for that album is like
Hmm.
huge to me. Like I love the art for that album in particular. And I think that's part of I maybe not part of. I think maybe it just feeds into why I like like physical fitness and like anatomy charts and stuff. I like that dissected view thing. Like even growing up, I like those like you'd buy like a model car or whatever and have like the dissected version of the car where it was like the fully constructed one, and then you see like three quarters are cut away or whatever. You can see the internals and stuff like that. Like that aesthetic was always really pleasing to me visually, and so I think that album like checked all those boxes because it had like the transparent sleeves for the liner notes where you could like take the body apart and put it back together and stuff.
All right. I'll let you in on a bit of a nerd secret of mine. I actually have a copy of Salival.
I had it too. That's a big regret. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I
That was
have.
going to be one of my questions about
Well, then
because everything's like streaming now.
yeah, I'll save the
Like,
story. I'll save it then. You can still ask that question.
oh, okay,
Actually, let's
all
just
right,
lead into that then. Do you have any
okay.
questions for us?
Yeah. I have a few questions, but the pertinent one was like with the prevalence of streaming media and everything like that. Um, have you lost any physical media that like was personally significant? Because I like Salvo for me, and then like Return the Gift by Group of Four or a Gang of Four is another one. Like there are these certain albums that you can't get on streaming because of like licensing rights.
Mhm.
Salvo's one of them. I bought that one on the release date, and then I sold it when I sold like all my physical media to have like gas money essentially to move. Uh,
So
so
I
that's a regret.
I still have the Salival DVD and CD, and no, it's never going anywhere. I think my kids might have stepped on the dust cover a couple
Mm-hmm.
times, but I definitely still have that because that version of Push It
Yep.
and that version of Third Eye, and it had like those are you will never hear those again. They're only available on that DVD. And
Right.
then
And Message to Harry Mandic too. Yeah, Maynard's Dick.
Maynard's
Yep.
Dick is on there. The DVD is it is what it is. It's the music videos plus a weird game. Um,
Yeah, it's of the time. Like that's kind of
yeah,
what DVDs were when that came out.
there is one that I've lost, and it's actually the opposite. It was only available digitally, and that is Childish Gambino's Kawaii. So he did a mixtape called Kawaii that was only you could download it, and I had it at the time on my Google Play, and it did not translate to anything else because when Google Play turned into YouTube, they just removed it. So I've lost the Childish Gambino Kawaii album.
Have you tried like pirating it?
I mean, I could, but I'm not going to put effort into that shit. But
Okay.
beyond that, I actually still own every CD that I've ever bought. It's in a big giant thing. I don't have a CD player in the house, but like we had a big internet outage up here, and for like 48 hours, you could not get on the internet. And then I was like, well, look what daddy has. It's a box of DVDs and CDs.
Yeah.
Like, let's put them in the PlayStation and still enjoy some stuff. Right. And that's
Yeah.
part of the reason I won't get rid of that stuff is, that's mine. I bought it. You can't take it from me.
Yeah. I had a iPod Classic or whatever they called it at the last run, but I
Yep.
had the hard drive replaced with a SSD and it had all my albums and everything on it, but the chip on it got corrupted.
Mm.
And so I lost everything that was
Who are
on
you,
it.
Big Tanner?
Yeah.
I was asking in the Discord if they had got an update, because there was kind of a race to see who got did I get a laptop or did he get an SD card yet? And I didn't get any, I just got mocked.
Feedback.
I didn't actually get any solid answers and I missed the pre-show and the show, so tune in next week.
Do you have an answer to that question, Keith? Is there any physical media that you've lost since
That
everything
you
went
wish you still
digital?
had.
Oh,
Not really.
my band's music. That's all gone. I was in a band when I
Strawberry
was
wine
yeah, I was in
on
a band when I
on a
was
7 inch.
17 and it's gone forever. So that's gone forever. But Keith, like, is there anything that you can think
No, not
of?
really. There's a couple songs that like I remember vividly like a song I heard in concert once that I like tried to download or find after the fact and never could, and like the melody of the song is still in my head ish like 25 years later, and I'm like I never found that song, and like that's shit like that kind of irked me. But no, I mean I quit. I don't know. I really just I had like a 3 or 4 thousand song collection that I still have somewhere on a hard drive that I haven't updated or I haven't added anything to since like 2015 probably. But then I got basically when I started my gym, I got Spotify Premium, and I'm content with that. So I have every movie I've ever wanted. I have a digital copy of any movie I've ever wanted to watch. I've got all the music on Spotify and or a hard drive copy of everything I listened to from childhood till like my mid 20s,
What
late
about like
20s.
the interactive menus on DVDs and stuff? There's none of that
Yes,
stuff you
those
miss.
I miss. I miss like deleted scenes and alternate endings on like on
Yeah.
physical media from like DVD days, and
You
then like the
those yeah, they still do those. Like, but when I buy things off Apple or something, the
well
problem
yeah
is
I don't
if
buy
the licensing changes, I lose it.
yeah I
Right?
Right.
don't
Like
pay.
there's a few movies I've lost. One time I'll tell you this story. We were all watching The Ring when it first came out on DVD. So we were at my buddy's house and we watched The Ring and then we let it go to the menu. And then we were all like, all right, well, we're out of beer. Let's all head down to the beer store. And we all got up to get our coats and jackets on. And what you don't know is The Ring, the longer you let the what do you call that? The cover menu or whatever,
Yeah,
Yeah, the main menu
the main
play.
menu, it would go silent and then a phone would ring. So we're all getting ready to go after watching this movie, and then that happens, and we all stop and we're like, "What the?" Like it stopped all of us in our tracks, and that like you'll never get back, right? What else you got for us there?
The for both of you, like
wait, did I miss
so
unpaid
if
or underrated? I was gone for like 2 seconds.
No, no, you didn't, but it
I,
was a natural
the,
progression. We'll still do that.
Okay.
so like I'm fairly new in some of the mass or most of the Massonomics lore. So if barbells are Tanner's thing, what is Tommy's shtick, excluding wool in his hair?
Hmm. Well, he used to be a boat guy, and then he was just a work guy, and then now he's a home gym guy. I'm trying to think what else I don't know.
He's a digital guy. I love how much
Yeah.
he knows about that kind of stuff.
Okay. He's like the Donatello of the Ninja Turtles. He's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
tech guy.
yeah. That's a good way. Yeah. He's very good at that stuff. And if you ever hear them
Uh,
talking about it, like hear him passionately go off about it is always kind of refreshing because like he knows so much and cares. It's really fun.
and then the final one for both of you is like, is there anything at this point that would make you leave through or disavow like Massonomics? Is there anything they could do that piss you off where you just like burn all his shirts and delete the Discord?
If they started talking about politics and religion, like anything other than in a mocking manner occasionally, absolutely, 100% I'd be gone. If Tanner decided that he was going to be a right-wing political activist on this podcast, I'd immediately fucking delete every subscription and cancel this podcast. Or this podcast would have to pivot into something else that has nothing to do with them. I absolutely refuse to fucking be
Can you
associated with anyone talking about politics or religion.
can you imagine for like so I'm gonna give the answer is no, there's nothing they could do because they would never. And that's they've been doing this long enough, like eight
I know.
years or something
This is
crazy
a
like that.
hypothetical world.
Yeah, they would never do the thing that would make me abandon it.
Yeah. With hope not.
Um,
Right.
I do
Okay.
want to imagine for just a second Tanner or Tommy. I would picture Tanner more because he would do it as a joke, going full on like podcast gym bro for like 10 minutes. Like doing that, like, if you don't bench press more than your body weight, you're a fucking loser, or just something like that. Like, I can't. I can't imagine it because he couldn't keep a straight face doing gym bro podcast bullshit. And like, we've got our sister podcasts, we've got our cousin podcast. Like even Huck Finn does, he does a little bit of that stuff, but he does it in a way that is funny enough that I don't hate it. But then you listen to these other podcasters, and they're just like they're giving dating advice, and like you're sorry, dude, you're single for how long, and you're giving me dating advice? Like you're telling me that I need to take tests, and I'm like, no, I don't. Like it's just that kind of stuff. If they were to go that direction, I can imagine me being like, I might have to back off a bit. And by a bit I mean a far, but I just don't. It can't happen because these two guys will never do that,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've had like 9 years to do it, and they've stayed the course, so
and it's
it's
worked
pretty
for
safe.
them. I can't
Yeah.
imagine them like even if one of their sponsors was like, we really need you to like boost our test sales, they'd be like,
Yeah.
no, no, we're not doing that. Like, like we're just not going to do that. A sponsor comes to them and says, oh, we want you to like advocate for our dating app. They're going to be like, no, we're not doing that. So like, I would say there are things they could do, but I don't think they would ever do them. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No,
Yeah.
And that's why we have this podcast is our faith in those two guys.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
That's
But I
almost
mean,
that's almost an ad
it's
read.
like,
That was
But
almost an ad read.
there is an extremely long list of things they theoretically this hypothetical world could do that it would I would bail, I'd be out. But it's
Yep.
like that's with anything. Like I've unsubscribed from so many podcasts. Like I've listened to thousands, literally probably thousands of episodes of podcasts in the last 10, 15 years, and I'm only currently subscribed to like a dozen podcasts because you know, you just get fucking tired and just piece out of multiple podcasts.
I'm at 3.
nutrition.
I'm at 3. It's Massonomics, this one, and a horror one. And I
Ooh,
just
that's a
hate
good question.
I just
Sorry.
hate like all of this. You get some uneducated guy who got rich off of his dad's money who just wants to stand here and tell you how to be successful. And like one of my number one rules going into 2024 was I'm no longer listening to the advice of millionaires. Like I just don't. You are not self-made money. Not a single one of you are self-made money. I don't believe you. I'll never believe you. And I just don't see Massonomics going that direction. I think even if they could have the opportunity to sell out and do so, they wouldn't do it. I just
Ooh, yeah,
don't.
that's a good concept. If they did sell out, like if Pillar Four bought them for, if they gave them $1 million each, and then they, but like even if they did that, like how bad would it have to get?
But
Because
they
they'd still, but then
but
if they get that, if they had that much money,
It'd be
they'd just be
super
full.
saturated with
They'd
ads
be,
then.
but they would come to us and tell us.
yeah.
That's the
Oh, yeah.
thing. Like Tanner
Yeah.
and Tommy would be like, "Hey, everybody, we have an announcement. We've
Yeah.
been bought by Pillar Four. We're gonna, and then like, but they would lose. They have 600 people giving them $1 a month or whatever it is.
Oh
That
no, not.
money would
I would.
like go
They would
away.
need. Yeah, they would need to do it, but I don't know what we would. Just their content, like it's all hypothetical, obviously, because like they do that. I don't know. I don't know how they're I think we're just keep our fingers crossed they can keep this going for another 10 years. Let me like Tanner will be like, well, let's see. So 12 years, Tanner something like that. Tanner will be 50. Like is he gonna we're 50-year-old dude still acting like this? But I mean, I listen to Dave Tate periodically and he's fucking like in his 60s at least. So it's like it's not that I don't listen to people that are old. So I mean, and we're getting older. Like we're gonna be
Yeah, I don't
older
think
than
age
them.
plays
So you know
into
what
it.
I'm
Yep.
it doesn't to an extent, but it's like because like as like, we're literally all 40-year-old dudes and like we're getting older, so it's like the pip shit I'm listening to should also get older. I
And
don't know.
it has, because I've been going
Yeah,
through the backlog. Like it literally has gotten
yeah.
older. It's evolved is the best way to word it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say
Well,
it.
like this week, how Tommy was talking about when he first started lifting, like the time constraints weren't even a concern because he didn't have any other obligations outside of the gym and like work. And so he could drive 30 minutes across town or whatever
Mhm.
Hmm.
twice a day to go to the gym and then train, do whatever else. And I think that goes away as you approach middle age or whatever. Like you have other obligations you have to fulfill. You have to support your family and take care of your kids and stuff. Like,
You've got a wife. You've got like you can't dedicate your life to work in the gym with a wife, and then
yeah,
you add kids, right? And then you add other obligations. Yeah, I got to mow the lawn. I've got to do this and that. So
If
I
um,
they're
mean, this is already like a side job for them too.
it is, yeah. If their audio quality got really shitty, or if one of them suddenly got a fucking a snort that happened every 12 seconds, and you know, like things like that would like it's little shit like if they just got if one of them turned
Tanner
into
squeeze
like
became more pronounced.
if one of them turned into like Mark Bell and had his personality and just kind of like try if one of them fucked the other one actually that's a it wouldn't like if one of them fucked the other one over and he kind of took it over themselves kind of thing which wouldn't happen it's just the way they have their partnership and shit but it's just like something like that like so the dynamic would have to change like if it was a which I mean it went from a three people and was improved to the two people it is now so we're good with that but like I don't know what what would happen to make it I don't know I think we're in a really good zone and I just want to kind of ride because like you know how much of my life will be gone if their podcast goes away that's like a solid 10 like it's kind of not
Yeah,
embarrassing but it's like scary to admit that like because between Joey and I doing the podcast and Nate and everybody like that's an like everyone is invested into crew and all that like they're giving a few percentage of their life but like host a podcast on top of that like this is like 5% of my life 10% of my life is all
mhm.
revolved around this fucking thing so if that goes away like you know
They would just
that's
have us.
yeah, that
yeah.
would be very
That's the
yeah,
thing. Like,
They would
it'd be
just
hard to
have
keep.
because
us.
it is like cult status. Like, what are you going to do to fill the void of this thing that you've been
Yeah,
actively participating in for years and years if it suddenly became like uh disinteresting to you? That's kind of
Yep.
the thrust of the question.
yeah, it
It
is wild too because I've only been
Yeah.
here for like three and a half ish years, and maybe listened for like a year before that. So under 5 years have I been like, well, just over 5 years because I my first podcast was 2020, so the first listening to them. So yeah, it's been a weird. I couldn't imagine the five. I don't know. I don't remember much from like the 5 years before. I guess if you I don't know.
there's a weird thing about that, and this is gonna be right before we go into unpaid and underrated, but I have to pee. There is a thing that Morgan was pointing out to me that there is like this checklist of cults. Okay. And there's a negative aspect of cults and there's a positive aspect of cults. And she was pointing out to me one day that we checklist all of the positives and none of the negatives. And she's like, she goes, literally, you guys checklist all of the positive aspects of what qualifies for a cult to the point that other cults wish they were you. And I was like, weird first, but second, okay, good.
I'd like to see that.
Right.
Have her
Yeah, I'll get her to
share.
find it or
I'm
something. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
because
curious
like
about what's actually on the list. So if we can
yeah,
like like
she was just saying she
It was
named them.
different from the one with Grant. It was a
yeah, I
different
know that
checklist.
the sisters did that, but that was
Yeah.
kind of
We were
far off.
driving at the time and she was like, you guys don't do this, you don't do this, you don't do this, but you do this and you do this and you do this. So technically you count as a cult, but other cults wish they were you, right? Where like they don't control our movements. They don't control, you know, how we worship. They don't control how we speak. They don't any of that stuff. but all of the positive aspects we
It used to be
follow.
a proper.
We used to be. All right. I want to hear, and
Episode name.
we actually that's the episode name. Yeah, we used to be a proper cult.
Dig it.
I have to pee, but I do want to hear because I've already heard it, and I think the crew needs to hear it before you do unpaid and underrated. Why are you Gary?
Yep.
All right. So several years ago, it was like the big to do was this was the first time my ex's family was meeting my family, and we went out to dinner, and uh, we were at a place in the relationship where my ex felt comfortable introducing uh, me to her daughter and her daughter to my family. And we went to dinner, had a good time, and then afterwards for dessert, we went to an ice cream parlor that was down the street. And it's summer, so there's a lot of people out getting ice cream, and the line's out the door, and we're waiting, just shooting the breeze, and as we slowly progress towards the front. As we progress towards the front counter, there's like this bay window where you can see back into the kitchen where they're making the ice cream flavors and stuff. And there are two girls back there that keep like looking intently at me and then going back to their work and like discussing it with each other and just kind of like brush it off like whatever. But it gets to a point where we're up at the front counter before we place our order. They both come up from the back and they're like, "Excuse me, is your name Gary?" And it's just like, "No." And it ends there. There's nothing about this, but for whatever reason, they get stuck in my stepdaughter's craw, and she's just like, "Who does that? Who goes up to someone and says, 'Is your name Gary?'" And we proceed to, get our order, and like we're walking down the street, and she's like in the back of the line with the other kids, and then she like comes to the front, and she like stops me dead in the track. "Is your name Gary?" I was like, "No, it's not." And she, okay, just checking, and then goes back to eating her ice cream, and it's like on the drive back to the house or something. My ex is like, "You know what? Gary's a lot better name for you than Brad." And it's like, okay. Like, and so like it just became a joke within the household that my name was Gary, and they just started referring to me as Gary, and I responded to it because like growing up, uh, BR kind of names were very popular in the elementary school system I went to. There was Brian's, Brandon's, Braden's, all these BR names, and so like teachers or classmates would get flummoxed and just call a name, and you just get used to responding to something that's like sounds similar to yours. And so name was never anything I was uh like stick in the mud about. Like I was pretty flexible with names.
It's not David or
So is it
anything, so it makes sense.
yeah, not David or Neil. I mean, um so it's a pretty easy transition. And then the like coming when I joined Instagram, it was initially like Brad underscore PTA or something like that. And I was like, well, I don't really want people associating it me like I am not my profession.
Yeah, for
My
sure.
Instagram is very like unprofessional. And so I wanted to change to something else. And it was like 22, maybe 23, like Christmas. We're in San Francisco, and our daughter's friend from school happened to be visiting her grandmother in San Francisco, and we were able to go meet up with them and hang out for the day. And we're just walking the streets of San Francisco, and her friend's dad was like taking photos of the two of them like hanging out or whatever, and I happened to be in one of the background of one of the shots he took, and I just looked like an NPC, like I'm glazed over, and that's what the thumbnail for the NPC account is. That's that photo. And I looked at the photo at the end of the day when he sent them over to us, and I was like, "Man, I look like an NPC here." And she's like, "Yeah, you look like an NPC, Gary." And so NPC underscore Gary became the name of that account after that.
It's funny.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, but that's
All
the long
right.
and the short of Gary.
Well, now everyone knows that. We can wrap this thing up with a little unpaid underrated. You ready for that?
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right. All right. So, anyone familiar with this game? Similar to overrated or underrated, but a little improved twist on it. So, anything he thinks is overrated, he'll call unpaid, and then underrated. No one wants to be Underrated's good. So yeah, I just butchered that whole thing. So you'll figure it out.
Yep.
Fix it in
On the
post.
fly.
Fix it in
Do
We'll do
post.
it
do it
live.
live. Yep. Unpaid or underrated. Airbnbs booked by Matt Sundling.
uh, oh man, underrated. That was.
What?
Oh God,
I don't believe you.
false. I think me describing it wrong got to his head.
It was quite the experience.
Which was
Sleeping
your
on
sleeping arrangement? Were you on the
I
you
was
were
on
on
the
the
fold-out yellow,
trifold
like
couch
the
thing, right? The
trifold
chair
yellow, like armchair.
recliner.
Yeah,
Yeah, that thing looked horrible. I think the floor would have been
yeah,
better.
no give on that thing.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And I don't even think I fully fit on it. Like I think the shank, like mid shank and below, was just dangling off
Oh,
on that
jeez.
thing. So the bottom half at a certain point, I just kicked it down to where like the legs were sloped down and the feet were flat on the floor.
Yeah, I do remember
But
it wasn't level at all.
yeah,
Well, that does not sound like underrated to me, bud. So,
I
but
mean the whole experience, that was my first big crew outing, and then
true.
I got to sleep with the
Okay, well,
CPAP Symphony.
God, that thing
Um,
is so loud.
it was a memorable experience, man. I mean, we're still here talking about it.
Yeah,
Very underrated.
I'm
And
not gonna.
for what it was like $25 a night or something like that.
Yeah,
I definitely overpaid Matt when I first got the thing, the invoice for it, because I misinterpreted what he was saying it was for the trip. I think it was $50 for the night or the whole trip. And I thought he was
yeah.
saying $50 a night. And so I sent him 150. And he's like, no, this is way too much. What are you doing?
Yeah, that did. The pictures did not look like I at $50 a night. You would have been better off getting like a $70 a night hotel room by
Yep.
yourself at some shithole. Because
Yeah, like the logistics of it, like it probably would have been better off to do your thing where you're in a hotel that was like walking distance from all the
I way overpaid.
attractions and stuff.
That room was way too
If
expensive. But like I was, I'd rather spend $400 or $500 and not sleep on a fucking broken chair. But that's
I that wasn't the hang up for me. Like it it I think the convenience, like the travel aspect, because I didn't have a car or anything. And
yeah.
shout out to Big Spicy Pizza and Big Dr. Jake from State Farm for giving me a lift
Nice.
throughout the weekend. Uh,
All right. Unpaid or underrated earthquakes.
Unpaid.
Yeah. Do you have a bakery story to go along with that?
I do. So in November of 2018, Anchorage, Alaska had a huge 7.1 earthquake.
Ooh.
Um, the biggest one on record since like 1964, which like leveled downtown there. Um, but yeah, like we were in an Airbnb at the time that was 4 or 5 blocks from the hospital that she was working at. And our kind of morning routine would be like we get up and get ready together, and I'd walk her to the hospital because I was unemployed at the time because I had just moved to Anchorage, and she'd been there and establishing herself and stuff for 3 months at that point. So I'd walk her to work, and then I'd walk back to the Airbnb and then like study because I was studying for some personal training cert at the time. And this earthquake hits, and if you have either of you experienced an earthquake before?
No. I mean,
No.
I think at one point New York felt like the faintest of faintest
Yeah.
things, but not I'm not gonna I will say no.
Okay, so how about like flatulence? Like if you fart, have you ever had one that just like keeps going? And it's like, when is this fart gonna end?
Sure.
Like comedically, like in movies, they use it as a device for like comedy. Anyway, that was kind of like this earthquake because like the initial thrust was like someone pushing you, and it's like, oh shit, there's an earthquake. And then I like got up to start to go to a doorway, and like the intensity of it dropped, but it just kept going. Like the thing went on for like a minute. It just kept like shaking. And I was just like, okay, this is an earthquake. When's it going to end? Kind of thing. because this Airbnb we were in was an addition to the house, and it's like cinder block construction, and it's modern construction, like it's solid, it's not moving or anything. Like I felt super secure in there, but like the table and like the bed are like walking and whatnot. My ex is in the hospital. The hospital is also recent construction, but because it's like 6 or 7 stories tall, and like the engineers determined whatever they determined to make it earthquake safe, it's on like a kind of like a car suspension. It's got like airbags and then springs above it to where it moves with the earth as it moves to where it's not like getting shear forces and everything like that.
That's still
And so she's
terrifying.
feeling, yeah, that it was way more terrifying for her because she feels everything moving. I just felt like the jostling kind of force, but she was getting like the wave motion of it, the sine wave portion of the earthquake, the seismic event. And so she was horribly terrified by the thing. And I'm at the Airbnb just chilling, and like things calmed down, and like I don't know, it's 5 or 10 minutes after the thing, and part of my morning routine was going to the bakery, getting like a pastry and a coffee, and just chilling there and reading for a while. I am on my way to the bakery after said earthquake, and I get a call from her, and she's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm on my way to the bakery." She's like, "What are you doing going to the bakery? There was just an earthquake. Did you not feel it?" I was like, "Yeah, I felt it, but it was nothing. Like it was just whatever. It was an earthquake. I've been through that before." And she's like, "That was the worst earthquake I've ever had in my life. And you need to go to the house we're moving in and to make sure like none of the gas lines are broken or anything. There's no damage over there." It's like, okay, but let me go get something to eat at the bakery first. So I proceed on my way to the bakery, like a half mile down the road or whatever. Get there, and obviously they're closed for the day because of what just happened. And it's like, oh, I guess this was kind of serious. And so I just turned around and start walking to the house we were going to move into, and I check it out because she wanted to make sure everything was okay because like Thanksgiving was a week or two away. I just want to make sure she could still, or we could still cook like Thanksgiving dinner because that was like her big thing. She liked to wait Thanksgiving as an excuse to make white people food. Uh, and went there, everything was fine. And so it brings me back to like, oh, that was nothing. Like this house is fine. Like where we're at was fine. And then later that day, the homeowner of the Airbnb, they were out of town doing something, but their friend came over to check on their house. The whole like kitchen cabinets, everything was out on the floor, like bottles of olive oil, cereal boxes, like everything in the pantry was just out on the floor. Like their whole kitchen, like the fridge door was ajar, like everything was out, everything was on the floor. It was a total mess. And even like the living room, like vases and stuff like that were broken on the floor. Um, but that earthquake was very traumatizing for my ex because there were multiple aftershocks after that thing, and everyone got her just the same, just like full tilt, like fear, like brought her back right to the moment. And funny enough, like one of them happened while she was on the toilet, and I'm in the kitchen and she's in like the half bath off the upstairs living room. She's, I'm shitting. It was like, okay, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't help you. Just finish it off. You live. But yeah, that was the unpaid
Nice.
earthquake. Yeah,
Yeah, we relive trauma here. That's what we do.
yeah.
All right. I'm gonna pass on it anymore because I gotta get to bed soon, so we can let Joey hit you with a couple. But I'm
Sure.
I'm fading, boys. I gotta go.
So unpaid or underrated Chinese food.
uh, uh, like Americanized Chinese, like Panda Express and stuff like that. I would say, I'd say it's underrated because it's a lot of calories for pretty cheap. But on the whole, I would say Chinese food is unpaid. Like I, it depends on who submitted that question or that unpaid and underrated. But because like when I was a kid, like I would only eat McDonald's, and so my family would go out like to eat, and we'd have to go to a drive-through, and I'd eat like the burger in the restaurant. And a big thing my parents would do would be go to like a Chinese restaurant and get their food and stuff because the town I grew up in didn't have any like ethnic food or whatever. Like there were hardly any restaurants in that town. And so that was their big thing to do. If anytime we had to go to Fresno, which was the nearest big city, was they'd want to dine out somewhere where they couldn't eat. But I can't. At this present point, I would say underrated because I need the cheap calories.
Unpaid or underrated? Folding bikes.
I would say they are underrated. Uh, they do most of what you need a bike to do with a few compromises that can be worked around. Uh, and then if you like it, you can take it with you wherever you want to go. The face of the earth, it folds up and fits in a suitcase, and you're good to go. And that was a lot of the appeal for me because when I moved to Anchorage, I had to sell my bikes, and when I left Anchorage, I had to sell my bikes. So I lost some bikes. But the folding bike works around that constraint. I might bring it to Aberdeen. Who knows?
Well, you do like putting a bunch of shit in your carry-on, so that tracks.
Yeah.
All right, my last one. Unpaid or underrated? A freezer bag of shredded cheese.
uh, Definitely unpaid.
Really?
Really?
Actually,
I heard you
I'm
ate
sorry.
a lot of those.
I think it's
I
underrated.
did. Underrated, yes,
There you
underrated.
go.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good.
Those are cheese is delicious. I don't know if there was a lot of lasagna being made in your family homes growing up, but that was something my mom liked to make because it was relatively easy to feed a lot of people if you made a tray of lasagna. And her problem was I would sneak into the kitchen and steal cheese and noodles while she was making it. And her workaround was to shred entire like gallon bags of cheese and just put them in the fridge for me to snack on throughout the week or whatever.
It's genius.
And um, there were multiple times my friends would come over in high school and we'd be playing like video games on the PS2 or we'd be playing board games. The big one with us was Risk. And I'd just be eating shredded cheese out of the bag while we're playing games. And it's getting
I
like
mean,
stuck
it's
in my.
healthier than chips, I guess, but like that becomes it. So at some point, that's so much fucking fat that I don't know. Was a chip better?
It probably negligible. This is fat, Brad. This was not a concern for me at the time, but that
Okay.
I think is in part how cheese became a nickname in my high school days.
All right. Well, I think that rounds us out. I think you passed unpaid and underrated. Great work.
Well done, buddy.
Add it to my achievement list.
Yep.
We might be able to air this.
Hopefully, it doesn't get lost. It's on digital media, so we got that working for us.
It's in the cloud forever. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead and hit us with those ad links there.
So we got Obsidian Ammonia, Barbell Rescue, Plate Snacks, Home Gym Con, Belt Fed Strength, Freedom Fitness Equipment, and Strength Co. Apparel. Use code UNPAID everywhere there, and we'll get us Nate one step closer to buying himself a new pair of underwear. Big Brad, where are they going to find you at, buddy?
You can find me at NPC_Gary on Instagram, or if you want to see lifting, Norwood, and crushing debt, all one word on Instagram. I don't think I'm anywhere else on.
Somewhere in the Discord, probably.
Yeah, I'm Big
It's just
Gary on
Big Gary on
Discord.
Discord. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Where you at, Joey?
Joey_Malesko, MLECZKO. That's it.
So we got the Instagram, Unpaid Intern, Unpaid and Underrated Podcast, website, Unpaid Intern Podcast. We got the YouTubes. You can follow me, Keith Honeycat73 on Instagram. And more importantly, go follow my Orange Gym, the No Wine Cellar. And we will see you next Tuesday.